We do just fine, Sarge, and welcome. The resplendent fall colors are out here in the heartland of America. And for Mike Gundy, bringing in his Cowboys after its worst loss in his 18-plus years, it was, what's up with this, a week ago in many Manhattan. The Cowboy fans were thinking they, too, had a chance at the Big 12. But it's this man, Lance Leipold, bringing out his Sunday best duds for a game that could mean the first ever bowl opportunity since 2008, when Mangino had this team good enough to be playing in a 1-versus-2 game. It's with that backdrop here at David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium, we bring you here on FS1 the homestanding Rock Chalk Jayhawks against the Cowboys of Oklahoma State, and they too find themselves in the top 25. Here come the Kansas Jayhawks. We live for this. How good is this, Spencer? You and I have been here before, but the last time it was during the COVID season. I dare say this is a different atmosphere. We begin with some breaking news at quarterback for both teams, but particularly Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Garrett Randall, the true freshman out of Frisco, Lone Star. He is going to get the start, Tim. He's a classic stand-in-the-pocket quarterback, pro style. Now, you know Mike Gundy as well as I do. To have a quarterback that's a true freshman step in and run this offense is a big haul. I think the run game is going to figure in heavily. Now, ultimately, on the other side, Jason Bean's going to step in my opinion. We know it's tricky with these Kansas teams, right? Coming off a bye week, they throw curveballs at us from time to time. Jalen Daniels is a guy who won it. He's still recovering from the shoulder injury. We will see. Either way, those not dissimilar in their skill set. This is going to be a fast track. A lot of things happening.
My partner, who ran the triple option, loves the idea that we're going to see some eye bone. We're going to see some wishbone. We're going to see everything but the kitchen sink coming your way. So good is this matchup, we had to come outside the booth to get it started. It's the Cowboys and the Jayhawks in the most competitive conference in America, the Big 12 on FS1. The quest for success in the Big 12 for Oklahoma State. Well, they lassoed the Baylor Bears, and they got it done on the road. Took care of Texas Tech by 10, and then TCU got them in double overtime. But they bounced back against the Horns, winning in overtime again. But oh boy, those Wildcats of K-State pitching a shutout made it a 48-0 win, and here they are on the road again, back in the Sunflower State. Temperature 55 degrees, a 14-mile-an-hour wind. Could be a factor at some point later today after that thunderstorm in front made its way through the Sun Belt and the Southwest Corridor. Lance Leipold in year number 2, and what a remarkable turnaround for him and for that man, Mike Gundy, in year 18. Very few have been at an institution any longer. As they say, Spencer T, not his first rodeo.
And you wouldn't think it would be the Leipold. He was dressed to the nines.
Yes,
man.
he was. Brennan Presley is back deep for the Tabor Allen kick, and I think we've got whistles blowing because we've got a touchback, and they're going to bring it out to the 25. And now we will see Garrett Rangel. Now, listen, there are plays that are set up for 4 stars and 3 stars. The only thing that really concerns Gundy is they just haven't seen him in this environment. What an indoctrination. Splitting time this week with snaps with his compatriot Gunnar Gundy, the son of Mike Gundy. And I spoke with Mike before the game. He said that Rangel was a little bit better during the course of the week. In this age, though, of social media, probably a wise choice to go with someone other than your son. And Dominic Richardson takes it out for 4, and it'll be 2nd down and 6. That's Lonnie Phelps, 47, the defensive end, making the tackle. He is a big-time pass rusher. Going quickly and looking long for Johnson. Markers down. Pass intended for Stephon Johnson. And it's Kalen Gervin that is likely going to pick up the penalty. This is an Oklahoma State team that has a strong offensive front. And they're going to run it a lot today, as Spencer mentioned.
Yeah, Kalen got that shoulder into that chest, and he's going to draw that penalty here. But, you know, irrespective. This
number 18, 15-yard penalty and automatic, first down.
Wranglers are going to need some help, Timmy, at the bottom of this running game. They've got to find someone. Dominic is not going to be the only one. So here's another look at the shot. Maybe some contact in the back end of that as well. So they're going to come after him because he's a true freshman. And you're going to pin your ears back if you're the Rock Chalk Jayhawks, man. They're going to try to affect and disrupt this youngster.
Well, Phelps is an outstanding pass rusher. Third in the Big 12 in sacks overall. First and 10 after the penalty. Pressure again, and he tucks it. And as you mentioned, primarily a pocket passer, but he scampered beautifully there and got down as soon as he could. Slide him down at the 49-yard line, a gain of 5, 2nd and 5.
Well, his senior year, he had over right at 200 yards rushing, so he's not immobile. He can move a little bit.
Quick out pattern is caught by Brennan Presley, who is likely to get targeted just about more than anybody today. Only had 2 catches, albeit for 49 yards. A week ago.
Tim, one thing that hasn't suffered is the pace and tempo of what they want to do. So whatever portion of this offensive scheme Mike Gundy has partitioned off of this young true freshman quarterback, he's working it early on.
3rd down and 1. Richardson, he pops it, got to the 2nd level, and into Jayhawks territory at the 40-yard line. Craig Young, the Buckeye transfer from Fort Wayne, Indiana, making the stop.
Yeah, they're going fast here. They're going to try to work this thing, Tim. Get this youngster to the line of scrimmage so he can diagnose what's going on. Give him as wide a view as possible.
Keep an eye on John Paul Richardson today, son of Bucky, in that slot. He's flanked to the bottom of your screen. And the handoff is to Richardson again. And why not, Spence? When you've got a front line as good as theirs, Kenny Logan, the leader of that defense for Brian Borland, the defensive coordinator here in Kansas, coming up to make the tackle. When you've got a big, beefy offensive front that loves to run block, why not?
And they're impressive, too. Preston Wilson, 74. The center, he'll be starred all day.
Here's the play action, and he's got his man, and it's dropped by Stephon Johnson. Late pressure on Johnson coming from Gervin, who looked to have time to recover and did as the ball hung in the air. And Stephon, who's playing a little banged up himself, having a hard time getting up.
And this is unfortunate because he basket catches this, Tim. If he sticks his hands out there, it's the opposite of high point, but Stephon is going to come up with an injury here. But I've got to believe if he extends his arms and reaches out, he gives himself a wider margin for error there. Unfortunately, coming out with an injury.
Well, Gervin atones for the interference with an outstanding recovery there. 3rd down and 5. Richardson is the setback. They go teacup, bunch formation, up at the top of your screen.
I love it that it's tight. That means he's trying to get rid of it quickly.
Going the opposite way, flushed, lets it go, might be picked off.
Yep, it was.
Might be intercepted at the 26-yard line. They rule it just that. The Jayhawks come away with it. Kobe Bryant, the sophomore from Evergreen, Alabama, comes away with it.
Well, again, it's the pressure that does it, Tim, and I think that that's part of the game plan. An unbelievable catch by Bryant on the sidelines here. No one else could have caught that ball. You thought it was going to be airing and out of bounds, but just a wonderful athletic play by this defense. And then talking to Brian Borland, the defensive coordinator, he's more concerned about them being thin up front. Nothing wrong with that back end on that last play.
You know, they haven't been throwing at him very much, the opposition. That's the point he made to us, and that's the reason why this kid can handle man-to-man coverage.
Well, Stephon Johnson needed to take a page right out of that. That's how you pick a low ball with your hands and pluck that thing right out of the air.
1st and 10, Kansas. They start from their 27-yard line. Devin Neal, the homespun star from right here in Lawrence. A dynamic play right out of the gates. Sean Michael Flanagan, the tackle, a 24-yard gain.
This guy right here can scoop, Tim, and I'll tell you, Jason Taylor, the second, number 25, the strong safety's taking these poor angles. They've got to be mindful of taking the proper angle because number 4 will take it away from you, man. He'll put you in the hip pocket really quick. He's a dynamo.
This is a relatively experienced but smallish offensive front. Neal is in the backfield. That is Grimm the slot receiver in motion. Play fake. Bean's pass is right to Grimm coming out of that slot. Luke is a really solid receiver for Jason Bean. North Texas transfer, has done a great job, played a lot of football here, Spence.
Well, Bean benefited right there from Michael Ford, the right guard, coming out protecting him on that last play. With that kind of an escort, if they can continue to play clean, and this is one of the keys to the game, we'll get to that in a little bit, they've got to play clean and not have these kind of injuries, because the margin for success is really tough.
12-yard offense, multiple players, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Multiple players moving, says our referee David Alvarez. Let's get Tillman's takes.
Timmy, it's really simple. No bad balls, right? What does that mean? No turnovers, no penalties, like we just saw. Drop passes, negative plays. All of that factors into this. And then the diagnosis got to do the opposite of that. Andy talked about it. Diagnose early what the challenge is. Now, this gives them an opportunity to do just that, because they're taking the time to get in the right play. The defense has time to adjust as well.
That's Andy Kotelnicki, the offensive coordinator. That's been great defense. And it was outstanding defense. Lawrence Arnold, the intended receiver. I think we've got a late flag.
I'm not sure what side on, but Corey Black had deft coverage on that number 2. He did a wonderful job.
He got there. I'm wondering if he got there too quickly.
Defense,
no,
89.
roughing the
50-yard
passer.
penalty and an automatic first down.
That's not something Mike wanted to see. He needs his defense to be playing with gusto this afternoon. Derek Mason is new defensive coordinator, taking over for Knowles, who left for Ohio State. And boy, I don't know. That's a little touchy to me.
Yeah, the guy tries to do his best to keep his head up. Yeah, that's tough. And he's a great player, too. Tyler Lacey, the defensive end. He's a beast, man, out there on that left side.
Torrey Loughlin in the game, and he'll come out of the backfield trying to pick a swing pass up, and it was well defended by Cam Smith, number 3. The redshirt freshman from Little Elm, Texas.
Well, he closed pretty quick on that play right there to show you some of the athleticism. And Jim Knowles may be gone, but he left some parts on that backside for Coach Mason to work with. Derek, head coaching experience, but he's got a pretty good defensive mind as well. But you knew everyone, and he did as well, was going to be comparing him to the unbelievable job that one Jim Knowles did last year, now with, of course, Ohio State.
All right, Kansas comes with 2 backs now, Loughlin and Neal.
Nice.
Here goes Neal. It's all about Neal. Touchdown, Kansas. All the sounds of the Campanile going off here at Memorial Stadium.
How about a little homegrown? Here it is, number 4, man. Nothing bad with that. He puts you in his hip pocket really quick, runs efficiently, effectively. What a great kid. To talk to him yesterday the way that we did, and to learn a little bit more about the depth of his mind as well as his athletic ability. Just wonderful. Excellent run.
7th rushing touchdown. He had a 24-yard scamper to open as Porchilla kicks the extra point, and then he capped it off with a 21-yard rushing touchdown. It all began with the pilfer by Kobe Bryant, and the finish homespun from right here in Lawrence. So Devin Neal with 15 rushing touchdowns, moving up the charts. This young man, and trust me when I tell you, he's all about Kansas, all about the city of Lawrence, and what the future may hold. They're building the foundation here with Lance Leipold. Abler Allen will kick it away for Kansas. Brendan Presley is back deep. With the following win. So another touchback, and the Cowboys will take over. Spencer Sanders, for those of you wondering, did make the trip and is here, but unable to go. Was not out for warm-ups. Had the opportunity to go down and visit with Mike Gundy about it. There you see the shells are on, but that's all. He said he just was too physically beat up. He had not been practicing quite a lot during the course of the season when he was playing. He's such a gamer, so tough, never lets up on a quarterback run play, whether it's called or ad-lib. Now it's the opportunity for this early enrollee, true freshman, Garrett Rangel. Richardson.
Tim, this is predictable. The play mix here is going to be more run base. No question to protect this quarterback after that interception.
Marvin Grant, the transfer from Purdue out of Detroit.
You got a down Jayhawk down around the 30, Tim.
Yeah, and it's Lonnie Phelps, 47, after that 3-yard gain. And this guy's got great closing speed. They really need him to be healthy against quality opponents. He is, along with Malcolm Lee, 2 outstanding rush ends that truly made a difference in this Jayhawks defense through the course of the year.
Yeah, and they're really thin in the middle, right? At those 2 defensive tackles, we call them under tackles because they really have to cover a lot of space, 2 gap type techniques. And in this 4-3 scheme, those guys go down and you've got major problems. And so in talking to Brian Borland, their defensive coordinator, he talked a little bit about that yesterday.
The reality for Kansas is the open date came at a very late time, probably the latest that this staff under Leipold has ever endured, either at Wisconsin Whitewater or at Buffalo before making their move here just over a year ago. But they needed it. They needed it to get some guys healthy again. And this is not what you want to see with one of your impact players defensively.
Well, I think it also undermines what you've done on the offensive side of the ball. You got the turnover. Your defense helps you with that. And then your offense behind your homegrown guy, Devin Neal, lets you score in that first possession. You want to get pace and tempo on your side.
He's the first defensive player of the week that they've had here in the Big 12 since Joe Deneen. Remember that linebacker? He managed to make it into the NFL for a year. And you can see he needs a lot of help to get to the sidelines. Boy, oh boy, that's sad to see. Really is. See if we can see where it happened.
He gets off the ball a little bit late there.
Leverage. There's a leverage injury.
Which rolled up.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens. 2nd down and 7 on a slant. Thrown behind the receiver, Langston Anderson, but he came up with it. Number 88 with a 13-yard pickup.
Well, young thrower put it on his back shoulder. They're going fast, Tim, but that was a risky pass, too. Better that they had man coverage.
And nice fake. And he's keeping it is Rangel. Craig Young coming up with a tackle. Take a look at that previous pass.
Watch this ball right here, man. That's right through his hands, the defender, and the nice adjustment, too, to catch that. Unbelievable.
Richardson remains the setback. Point of the ball just shy of the 44.
Just a 4-man rush here. Let's see if somebody can beat coverage.
And another interception. It's picked off by Kansas. That's Mello Dotson, number 3. And the redshirt sophomore from Daytona Beach comes up with a 2nd turnover of the day.
Mainland town, man, they're excited about that one. And again, you got to wonder if the youngsters shell-shocked, Timmy.
Yeah. 5 passes, 2 of them intercepted. Bryson Green was the intended receiver, but they don't call him Mello Yellow. He's Mello Dotson with the pick. Rangel over to the sidelines. Casey Dunn, the offensive coordinator, and you see the encouragement coming from Bryson Green, the man for whom the pass was intended. And, of course, Spencer Sanders providing some leadership, I'm sure, from the 45 as Dotson is being celebrated along the sidelines. Grimm takes the quick pass on a curl pattern, and he gets it to the 42-yard line of Oklahoma State. Corey Black, number 2, shoves him up. A gain of 13. This young man has led the Jayhawks in receptions the last 3 games.
Cool hand Luke, man, he did a wonderful job there of just taking advantage of off coverage.
1st and 10, Neal. Well, he's got quick feet. He really does. And Spencer, you touched on our conversation yesterday. We had it with both Neal and on the defensive side, their leader, Rich Miller, who came over from Buffalo with Leipold and staff. And man, oh man, what great leaders. We've got an injured Cowboy. It's Tyler Lacey.
That's tough right there now.
It really is. The redshirt senior really leads that defensive front out of McQueen High School.
Yeah, he's
quick and physical.
He's physical, cat quick. And in this system, this scheme, They play the Leo, which is opposite of him, but they are absolutely paramount that you have bookends in this type of scheme. Because it's one where they'll use a stand-up end opposite of that, and he's the guy that's down, run force, which you know Kansas is going to do. They've already scored via Devin Neal on that side. Can't afford to lose this guy.
You know it's November when your depth is really being challenged, and that's happening to Oklahoma State. And think about it, Spencer, this has been a tough stretch. You play a very meaningful game against Texas after losing a close one you thought you had against TCU. Then you go back-to-back on the road in the state of Kansas. And in years prior, that might not have been an issue. But this season, it's quite big.
It's everybody. It's stacked, man, from top to bottom. And you had teams who were the darlings of this conference, and Iowa State down a little bit this year, to be sure, but they're competitive. You
in every
meet
game
them
they
in the
play.
street corner, man.
Yeah. One of the toughest wins the Kansas Jayhawks got was against Iowa State. And were it not for 4 missed field goals, they could have been upset that day. Kai Thomas, transfer from Minnesota, is now in the backfield, number 8. Behind Bean. And that's Kai. Burrows ahead for no gain. He goes right into a stone wall led by Jason Taylor II. You talk about big-time players. He is one. Registered 9 tackles in 4 games.
That's going to be a penalty because the formation up top, Tim. Kansas got to get lined up, and that's unfortunate. It's coming back.
Fairchild has it at the 5. Flag is down, and you're right, Spence.
Andy Koltowicki, the offensive coordinator, put some wrinkles in, right? And some of it is formation. I saw 3 or 4 different things in practice, and that was one of them. The bunch formation up the top. Guys have got to get off the ball. You can only have 7 men on that front, and one got too many up top, got back too late.
Koltowicki is quite a character, isn't he?
Yeah, he
loves talking ball with Andy.
Illegal shift. Offense. Number 8 is not set. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Excellent call.
Yep, great call.
Coach didn't perhaps see it the same
happy.
way. He's not happy.
He's got a coach, I understand that, but that's on them. When you put those wrinkles in there, the extra time you have, you got to make sure that it doesn't cause a diminishing return effect. It's on the high side of the field, up in the top.
Yep.
You can see those guys trying to discuss whether or not they need to get back off the ball.
Yeah, right there. You saw it right at the top.
Lawrence Arnold tried to tell him, the ex-receiver, you got to come off. You can only have 7 up there.
Lance was asking a question. Who was it? 3rd down and 8 coming up. And I think he wants to talk about it even more. Yeah, he's calling the white hat over. He's calling Alvarez over.
They're first to the half.
Tim, you can only have 7 men on the line of scrimmage, and this is the issue right there. See these 3 right here? When you add those to the 5 already on the 2 down at the bottom, you got 9, 10 guys. You got too many. So you got your ex-receiver telling him to get back so that you can be legal in your formation. This is what Leipold is arguing, but the bottom line is the guy trying to get in a qualified position, that is off the ball, was actually moving as the play was snapped. So illegal formation.
Well, Kansas 4th in the country on 3rd down conversions against Oklahoma State, 6th best in stopping 3rd down conversions, and that one goes incomplete for Neal. Was rushed a little bit, I thought, by Bean. Sometimes you need to put a little air underneath it. He missed one like that in the late stages against TCU a few weeks ago when both were undefeated.
Well, Mason Cobb had it covered out there, that inside linebacker position, but your point is taken. The ball was thrown out in front of the would-be receiver, a little bit unable. You wanted a man-on-man matchup, which is what you had. Unfortunately, the ball was thrown just beyond the reach of the would-be receiver.
Reese Vernon will punt it away, averaging just under 41 per boot. As a following win, goes end over end for Presley. And this one will go out of bounds. Well, November is when the games are played that everyone remembers. So says Lance Leipold to his team.
Anyone that's been engaged in this program can notice the difference by how those guys keep battling. If you want to have an opportunity to play in December or January, you have to play well in November.
Yes, sir. He is in November mode. 2-time MAC Coach of the Year at Buffalo. At Wisconsin, Whitewater for 8 seasons, captured 6 Division III national championships, and he's doing it at the Power 5 level now.
He knows what's at stake, Timmy, to be sure. The nation may not, but getting bowl eligible will be profound for this program.
Oh, yeah. There will be a storming of the field this afternoon if Kansas holds this lead. Dominic Richardson gets out for 4, just as we mentioned his name.
Nice
He's
spin
taking
move.
off again. Look at that spin. Spin, baby, spin. And he's out to the 30 for a first down, a gain of 10.
I love the play selection. Again, you've thrown 2 interceptions. Protect your youngster. Still go pace and tempo, but inside zone will be another nice call. Nice.
Quick slant. It's caught. It's Bryson Green. Another first down.
I love this, though. It was off the play action, which was inside zone. So what you're doing is mirroring and using that aspect of your game to not get him too far afield from what you know works and what he's comfortable with.
Well, they're also getting the ball out of his hands quickly.
Yes.
The freshman, and Dominic Richardson now pierces midfield, gets into Jayhawks territory. Lorenzo McCaskill with the stop, the super senior out of Detroit.
You know, Garrett is a baller, man. He threw for nearly 10,000 yards in high school and came in as an early enrollee, and he's capable. Just got to protect him.
Richardson pops it free. It's McCaskill again, wrapping him up. He gets it to the 45-yard line, move the chains again.
And I like what Casey Dunn, the offensive coordinator, is doing here, because at some point in time, they continue to get those 5- and 6-yard pops. You've got to increase the numbers if you're the Jayhawks in the box, and then things soften up on the edges for the throw game. That's good running.
It is. Richardson looking strong. Well, he found the end zone 3 times in the win against Texas. A couple of touchdowns a year ago.
Got another down Jayhawk.
Yeah, and they did not have Richardson in that game with Kansas State, which really hurt him. And now Sam Burt. We talked about the interior of that defensive front. So Lonnie Phelps has already left the game, presumably with something going wrong with the lower part of his body, the legs. Now Sam Burt is down. Yeah, and they're more thin at tackle than they are at defensive end.
Well, the place that they could ill afford to have it is in those interior lines, and it's what Brian Borland told us the other day. He says that's where we're soft. And I asked him the question, if you recall, Timmy, I said, how are you about your interior line play? And he paused for a moment and he began to speak about the numbers, the physical size, getting moved around a little bit. And that guy right there out of Abilene is the one you don't want to lose. Let's see if we can see what happens to him here. There he is right there, just shed and move, and then maybe someone comes in there and he turns around and spins.
Yeah.
And he's already got that left calf wrapped up. That looks more as a result of a muscular type thing. But that little pivot.
Might have been a late reaction to the trip over the leg that he got him with, perhaps. And then he just could not get up. By the way, Richardson only 5.2 per carry so far, Spence. He's 9 for 47 today, so good idea for him. Looks like they're checking his wrist more than they are the leg. Interesting. Yep. But that's good news, I suspect. Ollie Gordon now is coming to the game to replace Richardson in the backfield, number 0. Freshman from Fort Worth, Texas.
Look how low the safeties are playing down now. You got a shot over the top if they want to go inside zone.
Nothing doing for Ollie Gordon II. That's Rich Miller coming up to make the stop. We touched on the conversation we had with Devin Neal and Rich Miller yesterday. This young man has come from Detroit City and has come to Kansas and made a marvelous name for himself in such a short time. A true leader of this defense, knows all about what Brian Borland wants, and he's been teaching his teammates here in Lawrence the way it has to be played.
It started when he was a 9-year-old, Tim.
Yeah. 3rd down and 7. That pass incomplete. Miscommunication there. An out and up being run by Anderson. And it was just a quick out that the freshman quarterback Rangel was looking for.
Wonderful job of Lorenzo McCaskill, number 7, backing off of the quarterback as he came in there with a little bit of heat, Tim. And you'll see at the end of this play, he's coming from depth. He sees the ball and he comes unabated to the quarterback, but he actually holds the youngster up. And I'll tell you, if you're official there, it's hard to call that. Great job of sportsmanship.
Talk about injuries. Tommy Hutton, one of the outstanding kickers from Australia, tore his ACL tackling a player a week ago. So Logan Ward, a freshman, punting for the first time since the game against Pine Bluff week 3. That's a pretty good effort, but it gets a quality Kansas bounce into the end zone. Well, it's not a sellout today. They had 3 in a row during that 5-game run, but they still have a lot of excited young fans on hand. They know what's at stake. Yeah! Wiggy! Magical moments in the season for Kansas. Beginning 5-0 for the first time since 2009. Yeah, they've lost their last 3, but they've been very competitive. Need one more, just one, to become bowl eligible for the first time since 2008. And at a time when so many people don't consider really the landscape, big picture of college football, trust me, it's a big deal to get bowl eligible here. There's Grimm again. He's the favorite target. It's another first down. A beautiful toss from Jason Bean and a gain of 18.
I love the deep depth of that pass and the accuracy. It was just wonderful. Tim, they're going to take their time and huddle up, which is great. Gives us a chance to look at this play. Nice basket catch there between a zone-type coverage. It was kind of a man under concept, a combination coverage. Just a wonderful job of executing that play.
Neal remains in the backfield. Being now 3 out of 5 for 39. Got it up back this time. They'll follow the fullback.
That'll be a holding penalty, Tim.
Yeah, thrown right at Fairchild's feet, the tight end.
Yep.
Samuela Tui Halamaka in on the stop for Derek Mason's defense.
We hadn't seen 89 do a whole lot yet offensively. Hadn't needed to because of the 2 interceptions on defense, but you know, Mason Fairchild is an unbelievable asset at the tight end position. Gives him a 3-pronged approach at runner, receiver, and tight end. It's tough to match in this conference.
Well, he led the team in catches against Oklahoma. 2 scores and 106 yards receiving. He's already eclipsed last season's reception total at 13.
There is no flag. The contact in question was legal. Second down. First down.
Well, it looked like they were looking for a cut block, and they decided to pick up the flag.
Well, they probably were meeting to determine whether or not he was parallel to the player or there was another one engaged when the block took place. You obviously can't block a guy below the waist if he's already engaged with another blocker.
So it goes as a 2-yard gain, 2nd and 8.
Inside option game.
There it is with Neal. Now, when they have Jalen Daniels, their option is much better. That's Jabbar Muhammad making the stop. Daniels still unable to go, but has been practicing some, throwing it quite a bit. But their combination, Spencer, this is what Kolnicki's all about. Their combination of RPO to go with option makes them very unique.
Yeah, it does. And it neutralizes athletic guys who have what they call a surf technique. They'll get out in front of the quarterback and kind of surf like you're doing a surfing board. But you got to be athletic to do it. We've seen already that Tyler Lacey has gone down defensive end. Let's see if they can continue to be successful. In fact, they'll run it again.
Oh, boy, what a catch by Arnold. Lawrence Arnold, who was in motion, took a pass that was thrown behind him and just speared it out of the air. That is a quarterback-friendly catch right there.
Flat hook curl responsibility. Malcolm Cobb, the linebacker, should have had it.
Pass is intended for Fairchild, incomplete, and they are going quickly.
I want you to watch number 0, Tim, on this play. I don't know how he doesn't get this one. He's buzzing to the flat out here, 0. He comes underneath it. Both of them had a shot to get that ball. There's Corey Black had a chance to get it. I mean, the inside linebacker as well. Well, I'll tell you what, that one's thrown on a line. It was hot.
2nd down and 10 with the ball at the 48 of the Cowboys.
Pressure from the weak side.
Yeah, blitz coming. And they run the belly series right up the middle with Neal. And it's Xavier Benson, number 1. Redshirt junior from Texarkana, Texas.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, the Jayhawks ran that into the teeth of that blitz. And you don't have to necessarily run it right at the guy that's blitzing. It's the physical numbers that are on that side of the ball where you want to run away from it, right? And so that's really, it's not rocket science. You run away from the numbers.
3rd down and 8. Cowboys doing a nice job on 1st and 2nd down, giving Kansas 3rd and longs. Much more difficult, obviously. And one of the reasons the Cowboy defense is so good on 3rd down defense. Out of the gun. Oh, a little shovel to Devin Neal. Hello. How do you do, Devin? Inside the 30. Another big gain. Jason Taylor, the tackle. He's had 3 explosives already.
They're trying to soften up that inside. He had to come down. Did Jason Taylor, the strong safety down in the middle of that field. And now KU's going pace and tempo.
From the 30, Neal gets it down to the 26. Look at that shovel.
Tim, this is what you don't like. Here's Neal right here. He's going to come underneath on this, what we call a little Fox 2 run. It's a shovel pass underneath. But if you are trying to come at him and you're Jason Taylor, the strong safety, you don't want that because you know he's shifty and he's not a small guy, too. He runs with authority and converts speed to power about as good as anybody in the conference.
He's got 84 yards total in this first quarter. And still 3 minutes remaining.
I'd love to get him out in the route right now because they're shorthanded. They can't cover.
Slant caught Grimm. That's going to be at the 16. He's got a laser arm, doesn't he? He was wearing number 17 in the game with TCU. Changed it to number 9. Likes that single-digit number. Neal remains in the backfield behind him as they wait for the communication to come in. This is now the 10th play of this drive.
See, this is great management here because they're getting Derek Mason out of that blitz look. Let's see if they bail out of it. That's an unbelievable job for KU.
It's caught, and that's Grimm again. Luke Grimm.
See, that's why they struggle so hard to get to the line of scrimmage. And sometimes pace and tempo is not what you want to do. You want to just get a look at what you expect them to do. And then Derek Mason actually bailed out of his intentions and went with zone.
2nd and 4. There's the out, caught at the 7-yard line by Quentin Skinner, number 83. Big day for him came at Baylor with 66 yards. They're a little shy of the first down. I'd say the length of the football away from a 1st and goal.
Skinner's a long target, man. He's 6'5", Tim. He gets those long arms out there. And it didn't need to go high point or low point or cross his body there. He's just a specimen. Once you get close down in this green area, they will take shots to those long arm guys. Turn those 50-50 balls into 80-50.
Check out this formation. Neal.
Nice.
Down to the 1, 1st and goal.
He's wanting that back again, man. Yeah. I guarantee he's wanting that one back again. You getting that close down there. Let's see what happens on the snap, Tim. Everybody's busting out there together, right? Getting set real quick. We're going to try to quick snap them.
Yeah, listen, Kotelnicki and these guys, they brought some Division III hiccups into Division I, into the Power 5.
Yep. There's another inverted tight bone.
Neal again, stoned at the line of scrimmage and pushed back. He won't give up. He will not give up. Jabbar Muhammad, Mason Cobb. You mentioned number 0 a moment ago, the junior from Provo is the team leading tackler. That's a heck of a hit at the point of attack.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's the way you defend a goal line situation. Again, he's probably thinking is Mason Cobb's.
Wow,
I had an interception earlier that I didn't make. I'm certainly not going to let you get him on the doorstep.
Got another Jayhawk down on the field. We have seen a lot of interior linemen on the deck in this game so far. So much concern for now the offensive front. That's Earl Bostic and Spencer. This is his 25th consecutive start today. He has been a staple here. Super senior from Barnwell, South Carolina, at that left tackle spot. And again, this is a smallish offensive front. They're quick, and they make good use of that in this offense that's run so effectively by Andy Kotelnicki. Watch this ball security, Spencer. I know you love that aspect of any outstanding running back.
Well, you got to take care of the rock down here, right? That's one of the keys of the game. And tell you what, Boston gave him a shot. Watch him get that arm in there. Pokes it out. Pokes it out. And he feels it. You can, as a running back, Tim, you can feel anything that threatens that. You got those 3 points of pressure. If anything threatens any one of them, you start squeezing a lot harder.
He turned away from the defender as he was trying to get past the end line. Well, the good news is Bostic makes it to the sidelines on most of his own power.
I'm not sure if that's a cool brother walk, if that's a little get up, hitching his get along.
Yeah.
That's a little sugar food.
2nd and goal. Another Spencerism there, ladies and gentlemen. He'll write a book one day to explain some of these. Devin Neal in that backfield. Here we go, 2nd and goal. Neal. Boy, that's just outstanding defense. Beautiful move by Taylor. Also Lamont Bishop, number 11, the linebacker, the transfer from Iowa Central Community College. Elaborating on that stop. It's 3rd and goal. Here they go again. Quickly.
Oh, on the backflip.
Wow, what a hit.
Oh, doctor.
Man, was is that strong up front.
And it's that guy again.
99, that's Brock Martin.
Yeah, Brock was in there too.
Ossie.
But Mason Cobb was in there on the inside linebacker.
Yep.
Man, they had a meeting, and I'm telling you, it was Mason on that edge, Timmy.
And another injury, that's Brock Martin that's down on the ground, who had one of the first, I think, to get there. Boom, right there. And you see Neil coming over his head there after Ossie rolled over him, and that's a lot of body there. The 310-pound redshirt senior out of Reno, Ossie.
Yeah, that's 310 pounds a man right there, man.
And it's friendly fire, really, after what had happened with that initial hit. And Martin was on the bottom of that pile that Ossie was on top of. This gives Kansas a lot of time to think about 4th and goal, and they have been shoved back. This is where Kansas really misses, okay, their tough runner, Daniel Highshaw. He was their toughest inside guy. The young man got hurt against Iowa State. And you couple that with, the kind of back that Devin Neal is, Spencer. They had a complimentary backfield when Highshaw was available to them.
He was, and he's the biggest of that group, but all of them are right around 200, a little bit heavier than that, and they run heavy, and they've got wiggle too. So when you're coming at them, you better be mindful of what's in their stable, their arsenal of abilities, man. You cannot take all of them away from them. These guys are a nice unit.
Andy Kotelnicki, by the way, was a center in a triple option offense. This is what happened on 2nd down.
Yeah, the run fits are just awesome down here, and you got to give Derek Mason credit because the integrity of this is a 3rd down opportunity here, and they squeeze it. Look at them. These guys don't get displaced down here. Even when you get knocked down a lot, Timmy, they are still not going to get moved from their positions. I just love the way they stand up. And I think it was Michael Ford in the number 54, the right guard, just waylaid one of these Cowboys, and he still stayed in that gap.
It's a heck of a win for Oklahoma State's defense. Borchilla with a 22-yard field goal. They had to get points out of this, and they do, but not what they wanted. And Derek Mason can be really proud, the former Vanderbilt head coach, defensive coordinator at Oklahoma State in his first year, for what that defense did once its back was really against the wall at the 1-yard line.
Well, the narrative continues. The hangover continued for Oklahoma State. Again, the problems are different in terms of the reasons. The young quarterback throwing the 2 interceptions, direct points off turnovers, but that's the challenge right now. And so, in a tough way, are the Cowboys.
If you're Mike Gundy, how much rope do you give Garrett Rangel? I mean, the freshman is a star to be, no question. He's a 4-star that enrolled early because he's got a tremendous upside. But how long before you think about turning to your son, who understands the offense very well, too?
If you understand the psychology, and I know you do, you've been around the game a lot, Gunner stays away from his father. I mean, and for the reasons that you would imagine. He wants to earn everything he's got. At Stillwater High School, he was the same way. I like the fact that he's managing this way, but I would not bring my son into a situation where you're down as a result of poor quarterback play against a team that's trying to get off the schneid itself on the road. That's a tough spot to put a youngster in. He's only got 9 passes thrown in his career.
Yeah, well, we've seen flashes from Rangel. I mean, we know that the talent is there, no question about that. But in the case of Gundy, what the head coach, Mike Gundy, said to us is you want to make sure that you give Garrett Rangel as much of an opportunity to succeed as humanly possible.
Yeah, and I think, again, because of, you can call it whatever you want to. I think there's an extra thing that you're thinking about when it's your son. You're putting him in that situation.
And in the world we live in, with social media being what it is, and Mike Gundy's very aware of social media, maybe more than most Division I head coaches. Richardson gets a yard, and that is all as we come to the end of the first quarter. Entertaining, absolutely. Kansas trying to become bowl eligible in a Big 12 conference where anyone can get you on any given day, taking advantage of turnovers and turning them into points. That's been the difference so far for Lance Leipold. 10-0 our scores. We open the second here on FS1. Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, flanked by Scott Alexander, our content coordinator, our spotter today, Brett Bender, KU grad, former golfer here, son of the great Gary Bender. Happy to have you with us. There's a little quick curl to Presley. A comeback route. And you see once again 10 yards on the opening play from scrimmage. And this opportunity here for Oklahoma State, Spencer, to get the ball out quickly really serves the freshman Rangel well.
Yeah, Tommy Dunn Jr. came back from that inside position on that wham screen is what that was, Tim. Did a nice job of recovery.
Yep, and he goes with the out pattern here to Green. Bryson Green, sophomore from Allen, Texas. Lorenzo McCaskill stops him. So good yardage on first down to keep the youngster in second and third and short whenever possible. Little wide receiver screen to Presley, and he'll have a first down.
Doing a great job with the play selection. Casey Dunn, the offensive coordinator, getting the ball. First of all, you're already in a shotgun, but getting the ball quickly out of the hands through the quick game for this young quarterback that struggled already with 2 interceptions.
Well, they're playing a little small ball in the air right now, Spencer T.
I like it.
Yep.
Mitigating risk, but also keeping the confidence of your quarterback, the damage there done already, to a minimum.
Richardson stopped. I don't know if he got a yard that time. Great defensive work up front. That's Tommy Dunn Jr., number 92, making the tackle.
They need to run base play just to the right. Inside zone and just give it power to the right. Real soft spot. Yep, stay with it. See, now they've reduced down, and now they're going to, if they run in this, they're going to have problems. He's got to throw it.
Rangel flushed from the pocket. Yep. That's a lot of green grass. Faked the throw and got it out.
See, they talk
a nice pickup.
Tim,
that's Craig Young making the tackle.
Sorry, partner. They just got to do a better job of not talking themselves out of it. This is where it gets tricky. With an experienced quarterback, you don't let the moving of this front of Brian Bordelon talk you out of what you want to do. You want to dictate to them how they line up. It was just the opposite on that last play.
Well, they're adjusting the line of scrimmage. Looks like they had a defensive hold. We never heard it from the referee, however. He never signaled it, and we did not see the flag. It was never mentioned. But a defensive hold will give them a 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line.
And this is a bit of a mea culpa you're seeing right there, allowed them to get the substitution. They knew that they were wrong.
Yeah. A lot of fans in disbelief, and understandably so. That's Rangel taking himself out of bounds inside the 45 at the 41-yard line. So a gain of 2. 2nd down and 8. All we ask is that you use the microphone. David Alvarez, by the way, is one of the best referees in the business. Jaden Nixon, number 23, is now coming to the game at running back. Cowboys had a lot of game time decisions at running back and wide receiver. Rangel keeps it again, calling his own number. Snappers out of bounds. And it looks like it's going to be a gain of 1. 3rd down and 7. So a 3rd down and long now with Nixon in the backfield.
Protection is at a maximum here. That's why they've got these 2 H-backs in the game and the Cowboy back.
Oh, reverse. Here it comes. Brennan Presley trying to make the edge. Thrown out of bounds. But he has enough for the 1st down. That was an interesting play call there by Casey Dunn.
Kenny Logan Jr., though, diagnosed that play pretty well. Number 1, watch him fly in here. After all of the eye candy is there, the guys jet sweeping, going back and forth, trying to play fast here. Nice job. Open field.
Standing defense there. Bryson Green got it and was dumped right away by Kobe Bryant, who has the interception.
Yeah, Kobe has a nice little game he's putting together here. Out on an island for the most part, that is man coverage by himself. Doing an excellent job in both the throw game and the run defense.
So a loss of a yard, 2nd and 11. Jalen Nixon the setback. This is the 11th play of the drive.
Staying in man coverage. Somebody's got to win. One receiver's got to win. Got him.
Yep. quick cross. Bryson Green with the first down at the 18. And Spencer, this is exactly the kind of drive that Mike Gundy wanted to see.
We call this a quick lookie. Watch number 9. Boom, just this little slant route underneath that. And if you're the cornerback that's sitting after you, Kobe Bryant, you're thinking pick. These guys are going so fast.
They really are. And Stephon Johnson with that catch right at the 10. A couple of yards shy of the first down, a gain of 8.
And our crack crew's doing everything they can to
keep up,
accommodate us and them, and that's tough job. They're as good as anybody doing it. So
we've got Doug Freeman calling the shots today, along with Jake Jolivet, Josh Franz, Andrew Wolf and company. Nixon should have enough for the first down.
Lorenzo McCaskill kind of flushed him to the side, number 7. Finding a nice little void in there to get to the play. Wonderful job of diagnosing them.
They're number 7 in the FBS in the red zone, Spencer. This Oklahoma State team, 94.4% of conversions incomplete. That was for Bryson Green, and he got popped. A little woofing going on between he and Kobe Bryant.
Well, Kenny Logan made him change his mind a little bit there. I'm telling you, man, these guys are for real, Timmy. They're lining up, flying around, and making their intentions felt. Watch number 1 come into your screen right about there, back in.
Great coverage by Kobe Bryant, though. Second down and goal.
Pressure.
Going for the fade in the corner.
Got it.
It's caught. Touchdown, Stephon Johnson. First touchdown for Stephon, and it comes at an appropriate time for these Cowboys. They needed something like this.
Melo's out in the corner. Here's this nice little fade ball, right? He throws it up, does the young freshman. Exactly where only his receiver can catch it. Johnson, just a nice job of hauling that one in against man coverage.
Boy, Rangel really looked poised there, didn't he? And I think it all started, Spencer, with going fast, going quick. You know, don't give him time to think about it, right? Just get the ball out.
You're going fast, but it's also stuff that he doesn't have to diagnose downfield. Giving it to him in bite-sized pieces. He's not ready for that heavy meat yet.
Well, this guy missed a couple of games due to a hamstring. Stephon Johnson's legs feeling loose right now, and Rangel is loving it. Stephon Johnson on the receiving end from the quarterback that's right next to him, Rangel. First points in 83 minutes and 10 seconds of gameplay. You know, you have to go back to the Texas game for a score because of the shutout thrown by K-State last week. That was a 15-play, 5-minute and 10-second drive, Spencer. And it was 20 seconds per play. All right, you do the math. 20 seconds per play means you're playing really, really quickly. And you see the kick for another touchback. Speaking of last week, Mike Gundy has been around long enough to know that when you play that poorly, the head coach takes it on. Okay, his worst defeat, first shutout since '09. We got a little bit of this when we spoke from him. I apologize to our team. I didn't handle our team very well. And I think particularly so because, Spencer, they had beaten Texas in a very big game at home in overtime. And, you know, how you sustain success is something that really matters to him.
I bet that never happened to him, even when he was slinging it for the Midwest City Bombers back in Oklahoma City way back in the day.
Kai Thomas in that backfield again. Takes it right into the teeth of the defense. The secondary led by Jason Taylor coming up to make the stop. They'll give him a couple of yards. Second down and 8.
To me, that mean of 20 seconds per play on the part of Oklahoma State is really impressive because it was vis-a-vis the quick game that they were able to work that efficiently and effectively. Ate up a ton of time, but in terms of the real time that they consumed, didn't take a whole lot. That's great play calling by Casey Dunn and the young quarterback.
And they equalized really the yardage in many respects with that drive. Look at this from Bean. He says he can run too. Look at Jason Bean go. Picking him up, putting him down inside the 10, 73 yards. How about that for a response?
He looked down at those shoes. I thought he was clicking his heels. You're in Kansas, baby. He was hightailing it, man. He got to the back end of that one. I'm telling you, Jason Bean has got some jets. There's a couple of quarterbacks in this conference, man, that's got the undeniable speed on the back end. Nice read on the mesh inside, not afraid of traffic. Seats that ball properly, feels the pressure coming on his left side, and just runs away from the trailers. I mean, Muhammad had him in his backside, but he just pulled away from him. And a little extra on the end. Watch him look down at his feet, Tim.
That's KU's second longest run this season. Neal had the longest run. It was 80 yards, Devin Neal.
Oh, that's something special right there, man.
What an incredible run. 73 yards. Some response. And Borchilla with the extra point. Dynamic play, Spencer T. That's what KU offensively is all about.
The single digit got him that extra speed. You know that.
Well, he got him to 17. That's the old number, right?
Tim, it's about high engagement. If you're Kai Thomas, the back here, right, you're thinking this is incidental because you got a guy in there known for his arm, but you know what? Don't give up on this play because you're blocked. As you saunter down the field, you're looking back. No, you're the guy, incidentally, who knocks him down. Bostic is going to help you. Earl Bostic, 68, and then he says, I've got enough speed to run away from him. Just help me out a little bit. Yep. And in talking to the coaches yesterday, I asked him one of the things about Kai. I said, you know, among the 8 or so transfer guys that came in here, which ones are giving you the most impact? Kai wasn't one of them, and that's particularly the reason why. Yeah. It was an incidental contact that he made.
That was the longest run ever by a Kansas quarterback. Caden Nixon said, we'll just take the fair catch here. And tonight, the college football binge will roll on here on FS1. Coming up next, Bijan Robinson, 24th ranked Texas, taking on Deuce Vaughn. Double deuce against that Reggie Bush number. 13th ranked Kansas State and the Horns. Then at 10:30 Eastern, Dorian Thompson Robinson, 12th ranked UCLA against Arizona State. College football continuing tonight on FS1. By the way, how is UCLA ranked behind USC? That's what I really want to know. Obviously not enough brand for the Bruins. Dominic Richardson is in the backfield. First down and 10. And there's that slant again. They're trying to get it out quickly to Stephon Johnson. This one falls incomplete. We could go on and on about Tuesday's first college football playoff standings. But the game is good enough now that we will just table that conversation for a while. 2nd and 10. Engel on the out, little comebacker to Bryson Green. Nice catch at the 33-yard line. He's 2 yards shy of a first.
Like the coordinator Casey Dunn's mindset, right? That's a cross-the-field throw. That's a big league throw, man. It was against man coverage. You certainly want to throw it against that so that there's no other lurking defenders that can pick you off.
Look at that penetration from the KU defense. Wow. Started with Jeremy Robinson, number 90, who backs up Malcolm Lee at that defensive end spot. He shot out of a cannon here to make that play.
Malcolm Lee was in there too, Tim. There's a couple other guys that Caleb Taylor and company also stabbed in there. 53. Wonderful job of getting back there. Robinson was involved in it. Lee involved in it.
They had to go to their bench some because of the loss of Phelps. So they've got some number 2 guys in there playing opposite sides at defensive end. Logan Ward will boot it away. Pressed into duty because of the injury to Tom Hutton. And the fair catch is made by O.J. Burrows. 46-yard boot by the young man, the freshman out of Oklahoma. On a beautiful day here in Lawrence, Kansas.
We had some nice reels last night.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. It get done so quickly, this turnaround in Kansas. Well, when you've got these 3 guys, the 2 coordinators, Kotelnicki and Brian Borland, together with Lance Leipold, since their days winning national titles at Wisconsin Whitewater, that's how you get it done. You go to Buffalo, you take that league by storm, and all of a sudden, here you are. It can happen, and it should happen more often. Devin Neal is in the backfield, first down and 10. Bean just throwing that one away. And Spencer Kotelnicki really has a great personality, and he talks so often about that little bit more that we need to get, that little bit more. And that underdog approach is so crucial to Kansas. That was the perfect fit here at the time that they came to this program.
Well, he's always looking for ways to motivate his players to that effect, and I'm told he's a big office fan.
Yeah,
too, right?
he is. Carell's role in the office. And Michael Scott is the character he plays. As you see, Neal with the carry. He's tripped up by Jabbar Muhammad. And it's hard to believe, but true. He keeps the Hoberman spear on his desk. The same spear that Scott keeps on his desk. As a reminder, I use it to illustrate that football is super easy. He points to the opposite ends of the collapsed jagged star, the path between them and the others. He says, get a football from here to there. If you have big enough dudes, you can go over it. If you have enough dudes, you can go around it. Then there's that third option, okay? You take those two ends and you separate them that much.
Meanwhile, it's 3rd and 6.
Yes, and you can get it done. Quick out, Luke Grimm. Oh, by the way, can get you that little bit extra, Spencer T. And it's going to be 4th down, and they'll be forced to punt it away. He didn't get that little bit extra on that quick out pattern. But just a fun group of guys to chat with. Now, Borland actually played ball against the head coach, Lance Leipold.
This staff,
that far back.
This staff as a whole is great at getting the most out of their players with those incentives, which is kind of a byproduct of what the offense was all about. They always have those skits when you're trying to incent those workers to get more and better.
4th and 4. Vernon with the boot. That was a bad punt that time off the side of the foot, which will give them quality field position. Only 32 yards on that boot. Cowboys will have it with good field position when we come back. Oh, a little toe tapper there. He comes out with R-E-S-P-E-C-T. I'm thinking we might have to do some dancing at halftime. Dominic Richardson is in the backfield. Rangel lets it fly on the crossing pattern to Green. Beautiful action there on the rollout, Spencer. And you can bet they're going to go quickly after that 20-yard gain.
Or rolling away to your right and throwing it back to your left. That's pretty upperclassman stuff right there, Tim.
Yes, it is. Nice move by Richardson. Good cutback. He gets out for 8. 2nd down and 2. I love this pass. I love this.
Watch him go in this direction, Tim, and they're going to take their time to get up there. We're going to try to get diagnosed. He throws across his body. I mean, right split between the middle of that zone coverage.
That looked like Staubach to Novacek.
Yeah, that's an ICBM.
Well, actually, that would have been Aikman to Novacek as Richardson with his first grab. John Paul, son of Bucky. And I believe when this was a beautiful pass. Bucky's such a gamer, and so is his son.
Just like his pops,
man. Just like his dad.
Aggie quarterback.
John Paul Richardson.
Bucky was a gamer, man. That guy right there was something special.
Yeah. Pretty good golfer, too, by the way.
He can play with
I've played with Bucky a time or two.
See you out there, baby.
1st and 10. Option to the wide side, and give it up to Richardson. He's in trouble. They practice against that all the time. Outstanding sideline to sideline work by Robinson, number 90. Jeremy Robinson, the junior out of Montgomery, Alabama.
Jeremy was really great on that for a big number 90 man to flow like that and run and chase a running back down. That's pretty darn impressive. And if you're looking for guys to step up, and he's one of those backing guys with some of those interior linemen going down, the injuries earlier.
Well, here's the good news, Spencer. Phelps is back in. Lonnie Phelps on this series. Back in the game, number 47 there. He's in a stand-up position if you see him there. Well, they swing it out to Richardson again. And the outstanding play of Kenny Logan continues. Boy, is he a leader. 5 games with at least 10 tackles, including a career-high 15 against TCU. 3rd down and 12 coming up. These kids are into it. They had a basketball game against Pittsburgh State 2 nights ago. They're like, hey, we're a football and a basketball school now.
They're going to line Phelps up to the weak side. I don't know if he's supposed to be on that. It's an overload. It's not net. Now you're sliding up. Okay, I see what they're doing.
Richardson in motion on 3rd and 12. There's that cross. And it's John Paul coming out of the motion position. And he gets it to the 15. I'm going to say a little shy of the necessary yardage. He's going to get 11 of the 12. So 4th and 1 coming up.
But JPP, he's doing a nice job, man, of just navigating that underneath. Ball is thrown, even though it's on his back shoulder. He catches on the carom. Double shot that ends up in his left hand. I like that. That's instinctive. Protected from that sideline.
Yeah, made a big catch against Texas. Here we go. 4th down, a yard to go. Zach Middleton has come in, number 5. Split.
Ball's
on the
Lost
ground.
it.
Ball is on the ground. Jayhawks say they've got it. As they unpile, let's see. The ball went forward. You'd think if Oklahoma State did manage to get it, they might have a 1st down. They're still unpiling.
Well, if you're a Cowboy fan and it does go over, this is so unfortunate because you navigated effectively with deft passing. But although the quarterback is saying this, they maintain possession. Well,
Kansas has got it. It's McCaskill.
Yeah.
Lorenzo McCaskill, the linebacker. Transfer from the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana over in Lafayette. Comes away with it. The snap apparently never got to him.
Well, seating the ball is what you got to do.
Oops.
And it was off the mark. And again, I think it's because the young quarterback is getting ready to open up and try to get that ball handed off.
Right.
And so if you know what's happening in there, you're a lot better man than I am.
As we like to say in our meetings, that's a private room without consequences.
That's right.
And McCaskill was the last to clear with the football in hand. 3rd turnover committed by Oklahoma State. 2 picks and now that. And an opportunity missed for Rangel, who I think has acquitted himself quite well since those interceptions were thrown.
Well, that's
now I think this could be a 14-point swing potentially.
No question. Let's see if they can get points off turnovers, which has been their way today.
Neal in the backfield out of the gun.
Spin doctor.
What a talent. What a talent. Corey Black with the stop after a gain of 19.
So confident, so smooth. I know his mama working in that call center is awful proud of this young man right here now.
Without a doubt. 99 yards for him in the 1st half. Well, that's 100 total on the ground. But 117 yards total. He's been used as a receiver too. Take a look at that previous play where he picked up 19.
That's the Madden spin button right there. Hit that little spin button. He's got that left hand down. Doesn't need it though. And then the consciousness to pull that ball up high and tight and protect it from that interior defender.
2nd down and 8 for Kansas. Grimm has been the go-to guy. Lawrence Arnold as well. They're both flanked to the bottom of your screen. Grimm in the slot. And Arnold at the bottom. Here he goes again. Number 4.
Another
spin. Skip Tomaloo. How about that? 38 yards. Devin Neal.
He's a whirling dervish.
He's making us all dizzy. That's one whale of a run right there.
And Tim, he's losing his balance here. He gets his vision and then checks himself. He understands where the pressure's coming from. He feels it to his left, spins out of that one, counter, and there's another spin. These are athletic guys on the back end that he's making miss. I just love how he gets up with confidence, sinks those hips, turns, gets upfield, feels immediate pressure, spins again. I mean, you don't teach that. It's a response to instincts and what he sees. Very few running backs can cause their body to respond as quickly as number 4 does. And he's not a small guy, too. He's got a little height on him, Timmy. And as I said, the mean weight of these guys is around 207 to 210. So the physics starts to work against you if you're a defensive back trying to tackle him.
That's Trace Ford, who was injured on the play, making his way back to the Oklahoma State bench. Listen, this is a consensus top recruit out of the state of Kansas. They don't have many, all right? The fact that he wanted to play here, stay here, is all about, as you mentioned, his mom, who did so much for him and did it really by herself until his stepfather came into his life, Ryan, and he is so appreciative. Spencer, I tell people all the time, I wish they could be with us when we have the access to meet some of these players. He and Rich Miller, these are young people that have come through it and come through it with difficulties in positions where some people might say, you know, it's just, life is not going to be good for me. Well, you know, he'll tell them, those same young people, success is a choice. And here's how you can make the right choice. I was just in love with what he and Rich Miller had to say to us yesterday. And here goes Bean again. He may have another one here. He actually, the turf monster got him. He wanted to make a little cut right there and then slipped after an 11-yard pickup. Neal comes back into the game quickly. From the 18. Trips to the bottom of your screen. Would it be fair to say, Spence, we've seen, in terms of formation, more than just about any that any one team could give you in a single game?
Well, there's definitely more eye candy out here, but this is just a basic trips formation away. And ball's out,
on the ground.
Ball's out.
I think it's recovered by Kansas.
Yes, we got it back.
And I believe it's Grimm.
Well, that was one of the rare mistakes that you see from number 4.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's been flawless tonight.
Luke Grimm right there to get on top of it. Good hit, too.
And now they got to get their communication. They want to go pace and quickly after the mistake, which is a great move. Now the left tackle moves, so you're in trouble now.
As does the tight end, Mason Fairchild.
Yep.
So that'll back him up. By the way, Grimm, as sure-handed with fumbles as he is with receptions.
They got Earl Bostic on that one, I think.
Mason Cobb hit him and popped it out. And you're right, I think Bostic was the first to move. 317 total yards for KU here in the first half.
False start, offense, number 89, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Yeah.
The clock is running. This foul includes a 10-second runoff.
After Bostic.
Please reset the game clock to 26 seconds.
He definitely moved. I'm with you. I thought 68 moved, and that's what he did. This is a very, very fortunate bounce. And it's good that Grimm is just the kind of player he is. Ball squirted away from a would-be Cowboy that could have come away with that recovery.
Yeah, Mason Cobb is the one who actually initially
popped it out.
Popped that ball out.
Yep. And then the ball squirmed away from Daniels, the safety, number 5, who was in a position to fall on top of it. Look at the ground game, Spencer, that Kansas has had, and it's just been amazing. Doing it with formation.
Formation and inside talent, too, in the zone. Neal here with the first of the touchdowns that they started. And again, the quarterback showing you he's got speed, not just the thrower. And again, these coaching staff talked about his arm being as good as any that he's been around. That includes Wisconsin, Whitewater, and at Buffalo. He can sling it. And then when this guy right here is really functioning, the double multi-spool spin move here is about as elite as it gets. And maybe 22 at Kansas State. I know he's better at it. It's only because of the physics. He's a short, little Quentin Griffin-esque guy with the 22. And he's special too. But this guy right here is a unique talent, man. I just love the way he brings the leadership that they need when you've got Jason Bean back there. Jason, not quite the prolific external projector that Jalen was and is with his team, but he certainly is a gifted player. But anything that they may need in terms of leadership is coming from number 4.
You said that wonderfully. Very diplomatic, and I totally concur, sir. I do. Bean, by the way, the first thing that Leipold said about Bean when he saw him and he got the job here, he said, boy, he's got nice hair. Second down and 7. Bean again. One thing about this offense, you see Taylor with the pop, and we've got another. I think he's the one that's absorbed the worst part of that hit. He's slow to get up. And he's making his way to the bench, holding his arm or shoulder.
Jason Taylor.
Yeah, is giving him some trouble right here.
He made Jason Taylor pay for that. This is the guy that's not supposed to be the best of the two runners. He's a quarterback. You know, he's got a great arm, but Taylor came up in there, man. And this quarterback just ran roughshod right over that shoulder.
First and goal. Yeah, first and goal now. From the 8. Into the corner. It is Arnold.
Yep.
Touchdown. That's Bean's 10th in the air this season, and just a marvelous move over Smith to make that play, Spencer.
Well, it was a great fade ball, and again, the defender's back was to it. And when you're in a trail technique like that, you're guessing. If you can't identify the ball, the receiver knows where it is, you don't. The best thing you can do is just guess the timing, and how you're guessing off of the motion of the receiver. What a wonderful job of going up and grabbing that one by Arnold away from the defender.
People around here will tell you that Lawrence Arnold is one of the Jayhawks on the football team that could very easily play on Bill Self's basketball team, and you can see why there. That's like going after the basketball with the irons unkind, Spence. Hitting that offensive board on a putback. That's what that one looked like in the corner of the end zone.
When you get that kind of coverage, you don't have to be a high pointer and execute it, because the defender doesn't see the ball at all. And you can actually give him the illusion that you're high pointing. In that particular case, a basket catch would do when the defender's back is to you.
And this is really your worst scenario for Oklahoma State now. They were down 3. They had a chance to score. They were stuffed, turned it over on a poor snap. Remember now, as you see this catch, that's just a thing of beauty.
He just went and fought and took that one away. First of all, it was all set up by excellent protection, right? And here's his battery mate saying, "Yes, sir. I feel you, big boy." Yeah.
That was one of the things Neil talked to us about. He says, "Yeah, I have to treat Bean a little differently than Jalen, because Jalen, he knows and is confident in how good he is, where Bean, on the other hand, is, as you mentioned, outwardly, verbally, not quite as exuberant as Jalen Daniels is."
Well, that's one of the unique things about this staff. They take a prescriptive approach to the way they motivate players. They've got kind of whole cloth principles that they follow, but when they start getting the most, one of the things that Coach Lance Leipold has done is create a context of competition. Every position you're going to be pushed at. That's how you get it to move forward.
That was a 14-point swing after the turnover, and a fair catch made by Nixon. Tonight, the World Series Spencer T heads back to Houston, where the Stros one win away from securing Dusty his first World Series title, while Bryce Harper and the Phillies try to force a Game 7. Coverage of Game 6 of the World Series begins tonight at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
I had to dust out my 2017 World Series. You look at the numbers right here, baby.
Yeah.
Jeremy Pena, he's the man versus Bryce Harper. I think the Astros are going to wake up this World Series right now, Timmy. I think they're on the precipice of making everybody forget about 2017 and all the garbage that's out there right now. It's haters, man. Come on, Astros.
Dusty Baker, I will say this. If you wanted to clean up your public relations, that was the hire you had to make.
Yes, sir.
And they have been so good, that staff. Amazing as Bryson Green reels that one in. A 13-yard gain for the Cowboys. They see if they can get something done, maybe at least a heave into the end zone. Now down by 17, which is tough when you're trying to play small ball.
Yep.
That pass almost picked off. Thrown a little behind the receiver. Lorenzo McCaskill had a shot at it. Dominic Richardson was the intended receiver, and yet another Cowboy is on the ground with 9 seconds left. That's Preston Wilson, the center. I mean, we're talking a mash unit now for Oklahoma State here in early November. Still a lot of football to be played, and they are really bruised and battered.
As they tend to him, what makes this play successful, if in fact it's going to be, and it has been to this point, but when you have to throw, That's problematic for Oklahoma State right now because they can't protect as long. They've got a great offensive line, but even the average pass rushers can have success against this front when you got a young quarterback that's looking at 8 men on the back end trying to diagnose where to throw the ball. It was the pressure that got to him on that play.
If there's a 10-second runoff, the half is over. And we certainly hope Preston is okay. Here's the feet.
Yeah, we can see if they rolled him up a little bit. Wilson. If it turns inside.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really fortunate that Jake Springfield didn't get rolled up in there as well.
Yeah.
He turned his ankle also.
I think they may just take the knee here.
Yeah, they should.
Get into the locker room and live to fight another day. Remember, because Kansas won the toss and deferred, they'll get the ball to open the second half. Turnover's the issue. Kansas making a difference. Chris Peterson and Mike Hill are standing by. The State Farm halftime show is coming up. Mike, Chris, from all of us here in Lawrence, how do you do?
I'm just a stranger with a twisted smile and a wandering eye. Your heart is in danger. Come close now, let me tell you a lie.
History could be made here in Lawrence, Kansas today. They are attempting to be bowl eligible for the first time since '08. Here at halftime, Spencer Tillman, Tim Brando, happy to have you with us. It's festive here, and one of the reasons they're playing keep away, and they're also taking it away from the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Give me your snapshot.
Well, when I'm North Tulsa, Oklahoma, we have this old saying, pressure will make a pipe bust. You start a freshman quarterback, Timmy, that's it. Garrett came in, and again, the athleticism on the opposite side cost him. Neal came in and showed you his athleticism and the ability to spin. He's got that Madden button working, man, and he did a number on this group. But listen, not to be outdone, Stephon came in, the rookie came in and kept him in the contest with deft passing on the backside. The fade ball was in vogue, and so now they got points on the board. We've got ourselves a contest, but in order to stay in this contest, they've got to somehow get back to that quick game, navigate down the football field and put points on the board, and that defense has got to get really stout real quickly, Tim.
And we have a touchback to open. As you look at the numbers here in the first half of this game, 239 rushing yards, a real catalyst, and of course the turnovers are big because they cashed in after every one of them. It's really turned the game around in so many ways. And Kansas will take over from their 25-yard line. What a performance by this kid, too. Dean has been on point today.
He's shown speed. He's shown all those assets that we didn't necessarily think was a strength of his, Tim.
Not much first down for Neal. He is stopped by Jason Taylor, who apparently got that shoulder problem worked out at halftime. He and Brock Martin collaborate. Second down and 10.
Going pace and tempo, trying to get a tactical advantage here, Tim, against this three-man front. Going to a 3-4. Mason is changing things up a little bit, hoping to coax them into throwing the football, and so I think that's a pretty wise plan.
Out of the shotgun. Flushed. Lets it go to Neal as the safety valve, and he'll get out for a couple of yards, and that's all. Third down and 8. A pickup of 2 on the play.
So that's the adjustment, right? Derek Mason goes in, is going to play 8 men dropping back and forcing this Jayhawk quarterback to throw into numbers. And if he can get him to do that, maybe they make a mistake. We talked about turnovers, going to be something extra that they have to have as part of the formula for success in this second half. Back to a 4-man front now with that stand-up guy, the elephant or the Leo, they call him in this scheme.
Grimm in motion on third down and 8. And looking that way. Bingo. Right to him. Grimm, the go-to guy, and a first down.
Well, I tell you, this is a little subtle thing, Tim, but they'll put Grimm in a trail technique out there by himself. We got another down Jayhawk.
That's Grimm.
You can't afford to have him down, man.
No.
He's a big asset here.
Gain of 11, and he's down along the sidelines over there. You know, he led the Jayhawks, as we mentioned, in 3 games this year in receiving and all-purpose yards. Let's see if that might just be one of those where he came down.
Yeah, I think it was his left heel. It turned kind of inverted when he came down on it, Tim.
Either that or it hit the midsection and he lost his breath. That would be the better of the two. But you're right. He's hurting a little bit.
Lower leg.
Grimacing in pain on the lower leg. You were right. Looks like it's going to take some time. Oh, he's
trying
like,
to walk it off.
Yeah, he's trying to walk it off. I've had enough of this. Get me up. We'll take a quick break. Well, no, wait a minute. Looks like he's going to make his way off under most of his own power.
That's a gamer. He's not going to go down in enemy territory, Tim.
Yeah.
He's sitting on their sideline. If he can get up, that tells you a little bit something about the kid right there.
Sure does. The number 1 target in that game with TCU. Spencer, you go back, you look at this season in the Big 12. As close as Oklahoma State was, they had that lead against TCU. You know, this Kansas team was undefeated. They were America's darling. They lost that game, and in large measure, you could say a missed interference call is all that stood between them and winning that game, okay, at the very end. And, of course, they dropped the next 2 games, but they were competitive in all of those. This league from the bottom up is just so competitive.
What was it, a 7-point differential in the TCU game? So, you know, I hate comparative comparisons like that sometimes, but they're germane, they're relevant. This team has grown a lot, and it's intentional. Everything from the way they coach their players, strength and conditioning coach. Hopefully we'll get a chance to unpack his approach here a little bit later on. They have got this program down in terms of the core values to a T, Tim.
Even with the injuries, you know, they've had plenty of them since then. Neal stopped after a 2-yard loss that time by Colin Oliver. So 2nd down and 12 coming out. This is a very important defensive sequence for Oklahoma State.
Well, they got to get the ball back in order to score, right? So I think the quick game can be positive for them, but in order to do that, you got to get the ball back.
Corey Lachlan, who trained as a receiver but is playing running back, is in the game along with Neal. Look at that cutback capability. Out past the 40 or the 41-yard line. That is Jason Taylor again on the stop. Gain of 6.
Well, the downside of Derek Mason populating the line of scrimmage with the numbers is that second layer is really thin, right? So once you get past that first wave, there's not a lot of defenders back there. Alternately, if you're playing a 2-man concept or 2 deep safeties, you got an extra body to deal with anyone who breaks through that first line of defense.
150 yards rushing already for Devin Neal today.
That's a career high.
Yeah. Fairchild, the tight end, gives motion. They go heavy left. And they flush it out with a little swing out to Neal. Going right for the sticks. Stayed in. Looks like he might be a little short. Gain of 5. Jabbar Muhammad the stop. They are a little shy. This is one of those. The chart says 7 or 8, right? But Coach,
he don't like.
Coach Leipold will tell. Though that's 5 or 6.
Yeah,
so, but you know what? He's begrudgingly coming around to analytics. He really is. We talked. He was very honest with us about that when we spoke yesterday.
Well, Xavier Benson and then Corey Black had him flanked on the outside, but I love the fact that they're going for it here, Tim. I'm digging this. This is the eye candy they had in practice.
Yeah.
Great job.
Look at that.
Nice
Pass is caught by Casey. That's the walk-on. They got the 2-point conversion against Texas when they won 57-56, which was really the catalyst, they believe, in this season. And, of course, he got that wonderful NIL deal with Applebee's, getting a twofer, if you recall, in that commercial.
When you get that first down, watch this, the motion coming back opposite. This is the eye candy right here. Bringing a tight end who you think shouldn't be involved in any kind of jet sweep concept. If you're a linebacker, you're looking at that, it throws you, man. You're thinking about, okay, hook, curl, flat. Well, where is he going?
Play fake, and Bean lets it fly for Neal. Coming out of the backfield. This is what I love about him, Spencer. You know, he can run it. He can come out of the backfield and catch it. All the requisite tools that you want at the next level, he's got. That's 21 yards.
Yeah, he's subtle, and it's the nuance, Tim. It's that last second upon contact. He doesn't give you 100% of his body, and he's able to get upfield, yards after contact, additional 3.
Get the feeling that this is going to be his drive, don't you? Gets it down to the 25-yard line. Let's take a look at that last play.
So here's the previous play, Tim. Watch just the subtle aspect of it, right? The motion, the play action. He comes out, gets the ball seated properly to him as quick as he possibly can. And the finish here, watch him split. Those 2 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional yards after contact. You better believe those chains are moving.
And Spencer, I saw some short, choppy steps.
Did you see some of those?
They're like pistons, Keith. Just like old Spencer Tillman back in the day. Kai Thomas in the backfield. And the steady diet of Neal leads it to the transfer from Minnesota. And he gets it down to the 21. Kai is coming around to the Kansas way of doing things. You know, when you go to the portal, you want these guys to make contributions, and he's coming along.
Back in those days, Tim, you're making those comparisons about running. We ran it in a phone booth. Yeah. I know few guys like maybe even Bill Self remembers back in the olden days in Oklahoma. I know he had
Speaking of Cowboys turned Kansas.
Yeah, absolutely.
3rd down and 3 coming up. The defending national champion coach in basketball will be joining us soon. Bean thought it was his lucky day and unloaded as he was going down. They may play that one in the film room this week. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they will. And the takeaway, the lesson is you got to have eyes in the back of your head. Even if you can't see them, you got to have a sense of the pressure that just left you. When you avoid one guy, you better believe he's not going to give up once he gets past you. That guy's still coming back. And I see that happen at the NFL level as well. Young quarterbacks need to be mindful. These edge rushers, many of them are making more money than anybody's playing the game. So they're athletic, they're elite. Got to be mindful of that.
Well, here we go. It's 4th down again.
Absolutely. Love this call.
5 out of 10 this season, 1 for 1 today.
Flat underneath throw right now. You got to get out of
there. He was
there.
late. There's Neal. What a safety valve he is. Down the sideline. It'll be 1st and goal. Talk about savior. Number 4 was the last check down.
Well, I love the call because it gives you it's man on man, so you get a matchup out there. And they've liked number 4 all day long, but you move him out of the backfield and get him in open space. You got to like his advantage. A 210-pound running back that can move and has got wiggle is an advantage over a defender.
Bryce Cabledew trying to work it off. Looks like he's down on the sidelines around the 10-yard line, and they're tending to him.
Absolutely love the analytics of the game that allowing teams to make these decisions on 4th and 1.
And I thought it was so refreshing because I've known Lance a long time, and back in his D3 days, he would have never gone on 4th down at midfield. And I watched some of those Mount Union and, Coach Karras, what a great Division III coach, a dynasty that they had. He even picked up the strength coach, Spencer, from Mount Union.
Absolutely.
And he's one of the real catalysts to the culture of this program. In fact, not only did he get him, but he made sure that he told him, you're going to be here for a long, long time, young man.
Yeah, and I'm not
going
to undermine Coach, but I can tell you this. When you get somebody who understands culture and how to change it and how difficult it is to create it and how easily it can be destroyed, you hang on to those guys. That was a bold move that he had to get that 5-year deal to match his.
Cabledew, 6'6", 305, out of Clovis, New Mexico. They've gotten him up and moved him on. Here are those 4th down conversions, Spencer.
Inside zone read, right? Bean, turn it into an RPO. He's got his big H-back out there with a nice hand. Casey's showing he's got some athleticism and poise. And then the next one here, same pass concept. I like the fact that they got man coverage because now all you have to do is find the matchup that you like. That was as a result of pressure, so it wasn't his first option. But again, Bean being in there, he's got the strongest arm of any quarterback they've got on the roster.
Here's that inverted eye bone.
Yeah, this is the eye bone. It's inverted.
Yep.
They can run option out of it. They can do so much. You got to defend it.
Shift out of it again. And there goes Neal. All the way down to the 2. Kendall Daniels, number 5, freshman from Beggs, Oklahoma. Keeping him out of the end zone. 2nd and goal.
Tim, Jared Casey was unbelievable. Number 47, watch him, the tight end. We call it Y or the tight end. Does an excellent job of coming over in motion. Watch this short motion here. He comes and whams block this guy and crease that natural crease in there. And number 4 gets underneath the pads of those linemen. Excellent execution by H.
This might be the 2-point play that he had against Texas. Deal will get it this time. This is where they've had trouble without a guy like Highshaw, a tough back. They've had some trouble on the ground inside the 5. And it was, they played many overtimes that night in Austin, but it was a shallow cross by Jared Casey that got him that 2-point conversion. And he's very athletic, but you can see he's been to Applebee's a time or two.
I like the fact that they're set up on the hash. I would run some type of play action or get the ball out into the flat and use the wide side of the field. I'm not a big proponent, although they got short motion, looking like they're going to run it this way. This is what I like right here.
Here it is, right over the middle. And it's, guess who? Jared Casey. Hello, how do you do? Wow. That is his second touchdown reception. Number 11 for Bean.
Well, he's figured heavily in this success of this series. We saw him with a key block. And now that you got the attention of these defenders expecting him to block, you're going to throw to him as well. He navigated the sideline in the earlier part of this series to show you he's got on another critical 4th down, if memory serves correctly, where he walked the tight line on the sideline. So he's been involved in all phases of success of this drive.
Yeah, his mom and dad were real proud of him in Austin. They'll be proud of him again later on this afternoon. Porchilla for the extra point. Some drive to open. What you do at the last 5 minutes of the first half, opening sequence of the second, right, Spence?
Yes, sir.
Bill Self will be joining us, the national champion basketball coach of KU, on a lovely, lovely day.
Jimmy, this is how you get by with a little help from your friend. This is Trevor Cardell, another tight end, right? Number 45. And this is basically a natural pick. As we put it in motion, watch him pick off the inside guy. And then the outside guy understands immediately what his responsibility is. Jared Casey, meantime, slips right past him. He never sees him. A natural pick by a couple of tight ends. Not those young pencil neck wide receivers out there. The big fellas have got some sex in them. They can move.
You're playing a little meathead football there at the goal line, huh? Guys with those extraordinary neck sizes. That's Nixon taking it. On the fair catch, and there, here we go with Oklahoma State has the football as a little extracurricular is taking place. And it's being taken care of. No flags. When we come back, Bill Self will join us. He's enjoying the festivities while he's watching his football coach do some coaching. We welcome you back. It's 31-7 here in Lawrence, Kansas. And yeah, they play a little round ball to go along with the football here at Bill Self. Man, it's great seeing you again. Congratulations, you two-time national champion and Hall of Famer.
You can talk hoops, but we've been together since UT. Tell us about the old days.
We're playing ball. You going to hang with us for a little while?
I want to.
Yeah,
I want to. I want to learn something.
Right up the gut. This is a pretty much fast break offense, Coach. So you got to work your way in, and that's not easy with me as your play-by-play guy.
You do a lot of talking. I'm amazed Spencer speaks as much as he does.
Yeah, he actually got hired. It was a non-talking part in the beginning. 2nd down and 7 for the Cowboys. Rangel, the freshman, little screen, wide receiver screen going out to Presley, who's been effective, and he keeps it alive. I'd love to get your thoughts on what Leipold has done and the culture that he's brought to Kansas.
It's amazing. Positive, energetic, tough, and he's got the guys believing. And not only him, it's his staff, it's his strength coaches. I mean, they're 10s all the way around. They've done an amazing job.
That's Mello Dotson is down. We've had a number of injuries. You get to this time of the year in November, and attrition begins to take hold. I know you experienced that a lot in basketball, too. It's such a long season over 2 semesters.
It's amazing in this game. Seems like there's a stoppage of play for injury every other play right now. And both teams are so beat up. I mean, we don't have some of our guys, and of course our quarterback, although Bede's been unbelievable today, and OSU's beat up right now. So they're just trying to survive right now.
Coach, what's the dynamic of motivating your team? We were talking offset about the strength, how you're going to have to win, the anatomy of it, and what parallels do you see to the game of football?
Well, you know, basketball is a beautiful team sport, but it's a lot easier probably getting 5 guys to be on the same page than it is 11. So I certainly admire this and studying this, because just like the last play you described, you know, the normal eye wouldn't pick up that stuff on how they scored that touchdown. And so, you know, one thing about it is, you know, with us, you know, faces change, expectations do not. And no matter what, if you're out there, we recruit you, you're good enough to do the job, and our guys are doing the job today.
DeAndre Jackson into the game, and he totes it up to the 48-yard line, a pickup of 8. Kenny Logan making the tackle. You know, Leipold told me he moved into your neighborhood and then you left.
Yeah, you know, these football guys are a little too stressed for me. I'm more laid back than Lance, so I had to get out.
2nd and 2. This freshman is, I think, acquitted himself very nicely, Spencer, all things considered, short of the turnovers, which have been problematic.
Well, Coach just mentioned, you know, the faces may change, but the culture never changes. And I'm curious, this guy right here is a classic sit-in-the-pocket type guy. When you get a guy that you can build around, Coach, what's the science or the art of building around guys? For example, if it's guards this year, bigs another time, this is what Mike Gundy's had to do today.
Well, yeah, you know, the thing about it is with Mike today, and also with Lance the last 3 weeks, you're doing it different than he practiced it all year long, and so certainly that's tough, especially on a short week like teams have. In basketball, it's the same thing. Basketball is a little easier because in football you have offense and defense. In basketball, the same guys play offense and defense. So a guy can get reps even if he's on your second team. In football, if I'm not mistaken, starter gets so many reps, second team may only get 10% of the reps, so that makes it extra difficult.
That was obviously not a fumble, understandably so. On 1st down, a quick pass that is taken in by Bryson Green. You know, Gundy, in a lot of respects, is the football version of you, Bill. He's been here a long time, and you're an old Oklahoma State Eddie Sutton cowboy. I know for you, as an alum, it means a lot to see what he's been able to accomplish at Oklahoma State.
Oh, yeah, they've done great. Of course, really the athletics program at Oklahoma State in general has done fantastic. And there's so much interest, and facilities are great, but Mike's terrific. And my old roommate, Rob Glass, the strength coach, is very similar to our guy. I mean, just done a great job in helping create the culture.
That's a big-time catch right there, Tim. A throw back across the field. That's amazing.
Langston Anderson on the receiving end. And that pass falls incomplete, intended for Bryson Green along the sidelines at the 5-yard line. Well, he had a tough decision today, Gundy. He either go with Rangel or with your son. That's a tough one. And he said he had a better week by just a little, and that in the social media world we live in today, he felt like this was the proper call anyway. And we anticipated to see some of Gunner today, and we still may. Nice move by Jackson as he made his cut to the outside, saw that it was pretty clogged up towards the middle of the field. Rich Miller, the middle linebacker, made the tackle.
I'm digging this fast break off this, Tim, a little bit. They did a nice job of going against the grain. They have what they call a directional call. It's really from the aeronautical sense and then the nautical sense. Right means port side, starboard is right, and the port is the left side. And when you have that, you just run away from those numbers. And what Casey Dunn is doing an excellent job of feeling and going away from the pressure.
Rich Miller makes the play there, and they're going to just try to get some points here, understandably, to make it a 3-score game.
Again, it's not, the pressure comes late here, and it timed it up, and the freshman brings the ball down, and that's a wise decision on his part. He sees an opportunity, but again, a guy's in his face in that blue jersey, makes him change his mind a little bit, and the pressure comes from depth. And that's your friend, Rich Miller.
Yep.
Does a wonderful job. He's one of the smartest middle linebackers I've seen in a long time. Love his narrative.
Tanner Brown with a 35-yard field goal try.
Might be a flag on that.
Yeah, marker is down, so we'll have to check the flag. The kick was good. And David Alvarez will take care of the proceedings and let us know. Chances are, if it's against KU, they could wipe it off and use some analytics themselves on the Oklahoma State side. We'll see.
That's a question I want to hear Coach talk about, analytics and hoops and how you set up your offenses. And
good call.
I would love to be able to kind of juxtapose what you're doing in that regard and how analytics are impacting the game of football.
The offense
we
sucked
know
late
that part, but I'd love to
and
hear
was not given the opportunity to match up. We will replay 4th down.
Just a replay.
There's no foul for 12 players on the field.
Got to give them that 3 seconds to kind of.
I think Mike is saying, hang on, we made that one. By the way, you mentioned Miller, the middle linebacker. He is the nephew of Darnell Dickerson, Spencer. Great quarterback, played for Hackett and Mike Gottfried at Pitt. And of course, Gottfried beat Oklahoma while coaching at Kansas back in the day, in the early 80s. Well, an instant replay works. Do you mind hanging one more series with us?
I feel the pressure from Spencer talking about analytics. So
you got to see this Kansas offense one more time, don't you?
I like it. I like it.
You know, pretty soon Self is going to be calling his agent. He's eligible with us. Okay, we'll be right back. 31-10, our score. Kansas leading. Now let's take a look at this kick. As you see, the Jayhawks, we have not had many returns from this position on the field because of the following wind. Kenny Logan back deep, awaiting the kick. Tremendous opportunity here for Kansas to become bowl eligible for the first time in a while. And with that in mind, let's take a look at some college football mayhem with our Mayhem Moment, sponsored by Allstate, the 2008 Orange Bowl. Kansas, Virginia Tech, 24-21. The head coach, Cannon. No, it was Mark Mangino.
A Quinn Martin production.
A Quinn Martin production. And Todd Reesing was the MVP of the game, with Aqib Talib actually being the MVP. Reesing was the quarterback. Kansas finished the year 12-1. And it's been a long wait since. But they're about to be in the postseason because of at least one win in the month of November, provided they hold on the remaining time here in the third and the fourth quarter. Kai Thomas forges ahead to the 30. Now, we were discussing analytics before we went to break with Coach Self.
Coach, we had a number of 4th down calls made here that historically wouldn't have been made. Analytics are saying otherwise. How's that affecting hoops?
I think it is. I think we probably have less situations where it comes down to time and score, where you'd shoot a 3 or not shoot a 3, for instance. But as far as initiate offense right, get the ball to the third side, how often does it touch the paint? There are certain things that have been proven over time that works, and analytics, basically makes coaching easier by proving those points to it.
Kai Thomas ahead for a first down. What we hear from guys like Leipold, I'm not keen on it, but if it's there, I got to use it.
No, you got to use it, but I do think there's something about coaching with feel that still goes a long ways. And time and analytics doesn't take into account the momentum at that moment and things like that. So I think there's a great feel to it, and obviously Lance has pushed all the right buttons.
That is translate in Eddie Sutton vernacular. Other things would be ball you man.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, exactly. I've said that a few times here recently.
I bet you have. Thomas again. He's staying on that. I mean, that's just tough running right there.
Yep.
That's what they want to see from him, Spencer. They want to see those legs continue to churn.
Yep. And I think everybody wants to see these teams continue to have success, particularly here where great tradition is. And you take a look at this run, those legs, as Timmy talked about, continuing to churn. And I think the reason why you run people is because you have proclivities to have success against certain fronts and coverages. And to extend our conversation about analytics, I mean, does it break down to the point of what side of the basket you attack. If you're dealing with a guy who can't defend, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Or some guys are better left foot pivot guy. Some guys are better right foot pivot guys. So try to get them in shots where they have the left or right foot pivot. There's all kinds of things like that. And certainly it helps you from a scouting report standpoint. Tell you we'll go ball side of this screen. We'll piggyback another screen. So that all comes into it.
You don't get this in the booth with Tom Izzo.
And I love it. I mean, Coach, I may try to recruit you.
Hey. Coach Izzo, harder, faster, tougher. Yeah. Harder, faster, tougher.
And that's why I always ask.
It works.
It does
that
work.
works.
I always ask these coordinators, I said, so are you a formula or a feel guy? I kind of want to know. Some of them are hybrids, but to the extent that they're willing to totally discard the analytics, I don't know if you can do that.
I don't think you can today. I don't think you can today.
I agree, 100%.
We can't use analytics on the bench yet. And I think that's one thing that makes coaches uncomfortable a little bit about analytics. We don't understand it well enough.
Right.
But football, I think, is ahead of the game in that regard.
Devin Neal out ahead for a nice game. Coach, we are really excited about the future with Big 12 basketball and the upcoming contract that's been signed between Fox and the Big 12 Conference. And we've been doing football for a while, but I haven't seen you since 2012, and I'm pretty sure you'd like to see me more often.
Our commissioner, Normark, has done a fabulous job in a short amount of time, and we're all excited about the direction that the league is going. But probably the greatest benefit of the new contract is that you'll be doing some games, and I think I was just told we're 23-0.
Yes.
When you've done games.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So we're hopeful. Here we go right here.
Devin Neal taking it close to the house, finally down at the 6-yard line. 42 yards. And by the way, you haven't lost with me calling a game either at Tulsa or Illinois.
It's been a while. Yeah, that's exactly right. Or Kansas.
Listen,
it's been a while.
Thanks for coming up.
All right, Tim.
Go enjoy yourself.
All right. Good seeing you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Good to see you, man.
Can't wait to see you.
Oklahoma's finest. Spencer Tillman right there.
Fourth quarter about set to start. Time now for the Old Trapper Smokin' Player of the Game, sponsored by Old Trapper. What's your beef? We're going to go with players. Why not? 30 touches, 267 total. He's going to be setting his own rushing records already taken care of. He may be going after Puka Williams' old time here in a single game. And, of course, Bean having a great day.
He's going to use a couple ice bags today.
Neal stopped behind the line of scrimmage this time. Great penetration. Cowboys are still playing strong. Ossie involved. Rest of that defensive front. Just a very difficult period scheduling for Oklahoma State, Spencer, when you have gone through what they have with that big win at home. Had to go overtime to get it. Sanders was playing on a leg and a half, and then being drubbed last week and having to come right back to the state of Kansas for a second consecutive week.
Well, Mike's going into his 19th year there at Oklahoma State, and if anybody can handle the complexity of it, I think he can handle it. But it's a tough one, and maybe we can talk about that quarterback situation too, because I think that's problematic.
Yeah. Devin Neal picks up 3. Third and goal coming up.
I guess it's more disappointing than anything else. We take a look at the collision here. Number 4, Neal does a great job of just subtly getting in there, but he's always running north and south. That's the thing I like about him, getting as much as he possibly can. To close the thought on Mike Gundy, his challenge is you're dealing with Spencer Sanders, who's a guy that came into this league the most experienced quarterback in this conference, and you were hoping for so much more, but as it turns out, he's missing an appreciable amount of time of preparation this year.
Bean's going to run it, and boy, did he get met with authority at the 2-yard line. What a hit by Xavier Benson.
Yeah, Xavier Benson came in there, and I'm not so sure he didn't get the worst of it.
Yep.
Because he got stung pretty good.
Slow to get up, getting a little help from Cobb.
And that's twice this quarterback has delivered blows. And on this one other time on the safety, Jason Taylor, this time one of the inside linebackers.
Sandwich there. Martin and Benson. So here we go with a field goal try coming for Borchella. Trying to improve upon his stats. Came in 4 out of 7. Come through today with, they need him to get more consistent. So all of these field goals are going to help as the season moves forward. And other close games may be forthcoming. 34-10, the Jayhawks lead. Head coach Lance Leipold with an ensemble he brought. His offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki. defensive coordinator Brian Borland, all together since 2013. Began at Wisconsin-Whitewater, then Buffalo, and now Kansas. And Spencer, his player personnel guy, literally everyone he's had on this staff, short of the strength coach, who he hired away from Mount Union and was a rival of his when coaching at the Division III level. They've all been together. And I just believe that there are different ways of getting it done in college football. And it's time that administrators understand that just because you're coaching at one level doesn't mean you can't get it done at another.
Well, familiarity can breed contempt, but in a sport like this, it certainly is the opposite of that. You need continuity.
Absolutely. Having some fun in Kansas. It's a 34-10 lead. Oh, you can bet whether the camouflage unis are out or the Hawk is enjoying himself, there's going to be a storming of this field a little bit later on. Band has been making a lot of noise the last couple of nights. We visited with Bill Self a bit earlier. They were out in great number for the basketball game or exhibition with Pittsburgh State, Division II power here in the state of Kansas. And again here this afternoon against Oklahoma State. Here's Gordon coming out of the backfield. Think about how quick you got to react. And that was, in fact, a very quick reaction by Kalen Gervin, the 5'11 redshirt junior out of Detroit, transfer from Michigan State.
And he came up and diagnosed his play immediately. Again, he had slid into it, Tim, to Gervin, but just a wonderful job of being in position to make the play.
Second down and 11.
Here comes a late delay blitz off the edge. Yeah. Got him, too.
Yeah.
Yes, nice job.
Garrett knew he was in a world of hurt and just decided to realize that discretion's the greater part of valor at times. Craig Young all over him, the Ohio State transfer.
Yeah, Craig came from depth on that too. Number 15, that strong side linebacker. And boy, he telegraphed the thing. He didn't get there initially. That's the reason why you have to stay after it, because it's finishing. Big fella's excited.
Yes, he is. Ollie Gordon remains the setback out of the shotgun. Third and long. And this one is caught. Speared out of the air by Bryson Green. Beautiful catch. And that he was populated. There were a number of Jayhawks around him. Excellent pitch and catch.
Time made possible by just a three-man rush on that particular play. And again, to the field side, wide open.
22 yards and a first down. Rangel takes himself out of bounds. You say he stepped out at the 46-yard line.
Yeah, here's the previous play here on the outcut, Tim. Ball dangerously thrown back inside, but again, Green did a wonderful job of seating that ball. Dotson and Gervin both in his hip pocket.
Dotson already with an interception today. He has one of the two. Wide receiver screen.
And this was the steady diet of the quick game, and what's different about this bunch formation, it's inverted. The apex guy, or the guy at the top of it, is actually back. It's like an inverted. It's not like a true teacup or a bunch. The middle guy is back behind everyone else. That's because the front two receivers are blockers.
He had a big day in that Cheez-It Bowl victory as a freshman.
Shallow cross, you got it.
It was right there. Now he's running out of time. He actually tried to get a little more yardage, and Dotson was showing some sportsmanship right there. He could have popped him, chose not to. Jeremy Robinson will be credited with a stop.
Yeah, this is when you're trying to go through progressions, Tim, and then you eventually come back to that third guy. If you don't set your body up to be in a position to throw back and you've got pressure coming, chances of you getting that ball off are slim and none, particularly against aggressive, hard-pursuing defense. He'll learn as he gets more mature.
Second down and 7. Rangel running out of time and just unloads. You know, we're only, gosh, Spencer, a year removed from a 55-3 shellacking Oklahoma State put on Kansas. And when we were talking with Coach Leipold, he pointed to that game, and this was a pretty good hit at the end of this play that Rangel took as he unloaded it. But think about that. Cowboys were looking so good, seemed to be championship bound. Then lost that game to Baylor the way they did, but had so much returning, including Sanders after that Notre Dame Fiesta Bowl win. It's so fragile.
Here comes pressure from the field. He doesn't see it.
Got him.
Wow.
But he unloaded in time, and he's going to be saved by the veteran Brennan Presley. First down, Cowboys. I hope he's okay. Rangel got up on his own power. That's Monty McGarry, the safety blitz, coming from the backside.
And he comes unabated. Rangel just never sees him, man. And he does a nice job of putting his head across the breastplate. And I don't know how that ball ends up in the hands of your
Presley.
Of Presley. And then just an unbelievable, gratuitous effort.
Nixon checks back in on 1st and 10.
Another one.
And that one will go incomplete for Presley. Borland is bringing the heat from his defense here.
I don't see how he got this ball off. It's a game and a late delay blitz off the edge. I mean, it's just like
almost the force
he was separated
of the blitz.
from it. The force was separated from the ball through it.
Without the combined miles per hour of McGarry's blitz, I don't know that the ball would have come out. 2nd and 10.
Nice.
Underneath to Jaden Nixon. Right down the sidelines.
Good job.
Touchdown, Cowboys. 35 yards. The freshman from Dallas, Texas.
First of all, we talked about it when Bill Self was up here. Are you a pace and tempo guy? Are you a by-the-book guy? Jalen Nixon succeeds here mainly because of understanding the pace and tempo of the game. But just a 4-man rush, the pressure was coming. He went away from it on the screen. And then he just puts everybody in his hip pocket and runs away from him. That's an excellent play design, running away from the pressure. That's been a staple of this drive so far. Yeah. Excellent timing.
High school teammate of the quarterback. Frisco, Texas. They're going to go for 2 here. Try to make it a 2-score game with touchdowns and 2-point conversions. Trouble. Nothing doing for John Paul Richardson. Fooled no one. Really well defended.
O.J. Burrows in there.
That's the young man from IMG Academy. Sophomore from Savannah, Georgia. Right on cue. This was a heck of a run by Nixon. Trying to turn it upside down. Tillman went in that way a few times against Nebraska, as I recall.
Got a little more height.
Spencer, when you consider it's his first start, he's a freshman, an early enrollee. After the turnovers and the uneven start, it's been quite a performance by Garrett Rangel.
It's a collaborative effort. Casey Dunn, the offensive coordinator, and I think to some degree Mike Gundy is involved in that play selection as well. Yes. Just the overall shepherding of bringing this young quarterback along, and Garrett has done a fantastic job of staying in there. Being gotten after because he is a young player. Pressure, dealt with it well.
Logan with the return. It's out to the 22-yard line.
And Tim, I love the fact that they kept him in there.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, coming up tomorrow, we get a full slate of NFL action. Seahawks, Cardinals, check the game in your area. Then on November the 13th, it's one of the great games and historic rivalries in Lambeau. Cowboys take on the Packers on Fox and the Fox Sports app. We touched on the collaborative effort of the freshmen from Frisco, Texas, both at Lone Star High School, Rangel and Nixon, who had that connection and touchdown, trying to keep Oklahoma State somewhat alive with 9 and change remaining here in the 4th quarter. Now Kansas looks to control the ball on the ground with Neal. Already had a career day for him.
They're going to just try to run this thing out, and no reason to air it out necessarily. But, if you're in a situation where, just to cross-pollinate here a little bit, if you're TCU, it's all about style points, right?
Sure.
You got to get most points on the board as possible. Again, not so much for Kansas. Kansas, had they stayed undefeated, they certainly would have had to do it. They would have been this year at Cincinnati, right?
One of the great ironies today, watching our magnificent pregame show, Big Noon Kickoff today, was listening to Urban Meyer talking about what TCU needed to do. Devin Neal ahead for a couple of yards. He said they got to win, but they got to win big. Well, he would know.
Yeah, he would know.
Because Iowa State lost 55-3 to Gary Patterson's TCU team on the final weekend, which was also championship weekend. And the committee, in its usual biased manner in the god-awful experience that the 14 format has been, dropped them 3 spots from 3 to 6, and Ohio State managed to get into the playoff. And I don't care that Ohio State won the title. They went in because of who they were and what their brand was all about.
You know, we don't agree on a lot, Tim. I think we do agree on some things.
Yes, we do.
We do, but as we watch number 4, we agree that he's good.
How good is Devin Neal? Man, what a performance. Now, this has got to be close to Puka Williams territory. Passing, that was a pass, I understand that, but all-purpose yards, I realize that was a pass, not a rush, but he's got to be up there around where Puka's been in the past, to have that incredible performance that you and I saw Spencer in Norman a few years back.
I love how he takes care of the ball, and I love his partner, Lawrence Arnold, takes care of him and back after he poses. Arnold came in and just kind of pulled him away really quickly.
What a day he's had. That's just on the ground. What is 327 total yards for Neal.
And Tim, you're talking about helping save yourself from yourself. We do that with each other. He's posing a little bit, and his partner comes, hey, wait a minute, let's get out of here right quick. Because there's a little bit too much of that. You're going to get us popped for a flag and negate the great effort. That's what a good teammate does.
Right.
And Lawrence Arnold is that at that X receiver spot.
That's a great call on your part, Spencer.
Yep.
And that's what they tell you. They say, run to your partner. Run to your teammate. As long as you're celebrating together, not by yourself. 2nd and 5. Kai Thomas is coming to the game. Bean is now 18 of 23 for 203. Hasn't turned it over and has 2 touchdowns. And looks like a timeout has been called by KU.
Timeout, Kansas. They're first of the half.
Someday for the King of Lawrence, Devin Neal.
Little Joe from Kokomo. You don't know about that 4, do you? We say it in the hood, 4. Number 4. I love the way he runs, Tim, because he's aware. The awareness of it, and he's mindful of the fact that he's at the sideline. It's his friend. He's got the speed when he needs it. He's got the awareness on these Utah pass to know that traffic is all around him. He's an intelligent runner. He's got a lot of intelligent players around him, as we witnessed on that last series with Lawrence Arnold helping him out.
Here he goes again. Those are the numbers. Talk about rarefied air. If you're thinking about it, single game rushing, Tony Sands, 396, Nolan Cromwell, 294. Think about these names. Khalil Herbert, 291. Gale Sayers, the Comet, 283. David Wimbush, 268. Puka Williams, 252. Neal at 224 and counting right now. 3rd down and 3. He's got 334 total yards. Head for a couple of more right there.
Yeah, it was
Stopped by Mason Cobb.
Yeah, Mason all over him that play. And that's another thing that he does. It's subtle, but, you know, if you're dead to rights, you're caught there, don't try to make a situation worse. And he's just navigated, has Devin Neal well tonight, no matter what circumstances been in.
And he told us, you know, I have a higher calling than football.
Yeah, absolutely. Good
I want to do things. I want to help people. I'm here to help people.
He and his battery mate, Rich Miller, the same attitude.
They spent a year together. One from Detroit City and the other from Little Lawrence. And together they've made one another better, and this team has galvanized behind their leadership. What a day. Young man, you deserve it. No, this is not a scene from Apocalypse Now. Wow. That's a Blackhawk, Spencer.
Yep, that's a Sikorsky UH-60 Blackhawk.
That's beautiful.
Look at that thing. That's awesome.
You know, we didn't see it earlier because in that area is where some tailgating, and
Oh,
and
that's sweet.
there were a number of tents that were obstructing our view from here. That's just marvelous.
There's a couple of distinct sounds in the military aircraft, and there's a couple of them. The Huey, which was made famous in Vietnam, the Black Hawk, of course, and then the F-4U Corsair.
That reminds me of our time spent at Army Navy.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
If you've never been to that game and just what would happen pregame, thank you for your service. 37-16 our score. Presley is awaiting the kick. And as is always the case, going in this direction, it's a touchback. So we've been waiting. You've been waiting. Who am I, Spencer? 92, Kansas theater and film graduate. Entered the military at an early age. Made it to Lieutenant Colonel. Appeared in Step Brothers, The Hangover. 21. Oh, I know this one. I know this one. Here's a hint, Spencer.
Is it a male or female?
It's a male, and we got a play coming.
Can I give it?
I know this one. This guy is, let's just say, a luminary that will always be on hand when Kansas is playing a game, and Fox will use him some on Sundays too.
I think his surname rhymes with one of the funniest guys in the world. Don Rickles was Rob Rickle.
Rob Riggle. Yeah. Rob Riggle, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
There he is. Yeah, and a great guy. Just as good as it gets. He's got a golf event that's one of the best around. And by the way, Rob, I'm available. DeAndre Jackson's in the backfield. Rangel, that's a beautiful pass. Thrown right where you want it into that zone. Presley has it and gets out to the 43-yard line. Rich Miller making the stop.
I was looking at the front there, didn't see the backside of it. I would love to see that. They're going to go pace, so we're not going to get back to the play, but this kid has really moved this team along exceptionally well.
A lot of future, big-time future. Beautiful catch by Langston Anderson.
Yep.
Wow. Middletown, Texas. Redshirt junior from Heritage High School. He's angular, 6'1", 202. Nice catch against Kobe Bryant.
You see him get that arm out there and extend himself away from the defender. I think that's well done. I mean, a lot of times Kobe Bryant has done a great job defending, but if you've got a guy that's got length, that's how you use it.
Pressure coming. Rangel has to let it go.
Get rid of it. Knowing the down and distance, you got downs to give. That's a smart move.
Well, the hopes and aspirations of a title, which were certainly there before that devastating loss last week, and of course the overtime loss to TCU. But Spencer, you look ahead. After this game, they play Iowa State, then they have Bedlam, which is always difficult, and West Virginia to follow, close out the year. Still an opportunity for a successful year as John Paul Richardson takes it and is shoved out of bounds.
It's going to be a character check.
Yes,
this is one of the things I kind of was alluding to earlier. Those aren't easy outs that you talked about. Then what will the status of your quarterback be?
Right.
How are you going to win? The anatomy of that, what that looks like. Mike's got a lot of work to do. Oh, nice defense.
Oh, it's picked off on the tip drill. It's Miller. Here goes Rich Miller. Well, that's the cherry on top. Your offensive leader and your defensive leader. Kobe Bryant tipped it, and Miller speared it.
How about that? That's been the theme, Tim. Getting by with the help from your friend, whether it's tight ends, H positions, defensive backs. What a wonderful display of cooperation between guys in the same color uniforms. Nice arm in there, punches it out away, and Miller's in his deep middle position, dropping back right where he's supposed to be. Gets to Karam in his basket. He's headed the other direction. Oh, I love this stuff. I mean, his dad got him up at 4:30 in the morning when he was 16 years of age. And, boy, you talking about a chip off the old block right there.
You know,
makes me smile.
Where he came from and how he was built, you know, Spencer, was by having a dad that did all the little things.
Great.
And then you look on the other side.
Look at this.
There's a nice run by Kai Thomas. Just carrying Cowboys. These fans are lapping it up.
Kai I might have to check his whole card one more time.
I think
now.
that's his pop run over there and giving the look at that.
That's Miller's family, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Miller's family there.
Yeah,
There's
no
Pop.
question.
Oh, that's so great.
He's got a cousin over McCall, Jason McCoy, over at Central Michigan is a cousin of his. It's a family of football, the Millers. And then you look at the flip side with Devin Neal, and as Bostic is being taken to the sidelines,
Earl has earned his
time.
today.
Boy, he has. But here comes the interception again with Miller.
Again, his partner there helped him out, and then punching it out and just having the awareness to get upfield. You get an interception, you got to get some dap and some love on the back end of that. Mama, what you think about that, Pops? Yeah, Pops got the handshake down and everything.
Yeah, keep on dapping, man.
Snapping, dipping it.
Yeah, that's the KOD,
man.
the keep on dapping.
Pops, I feel you.
Another nice run by Thomas.
I'll tell you what, I got the impression that he wasn't as physical, or maybe was a bit of a disappointment.
He's trying to send a message.
He's sending a message right now, and you've got to attribute this to Lance Leipold and this competition context that he's created for this team. You don't come here to inherit anything. We're establishing something, and I just love that attitude.
The thing that
And see, that hadn't been the mindset, Tim.
No,
People
it
come
hasn't.
to Kansas thinking you're going to play
Absolutely.
immediately. No, you're going to fight for every bit of it.
And they've closed the book on Neal, it would appear, after an incredible day. Thomas stopped. But Devin Neal, Spencer, had really no father. His stepfather came in late, but his mom took care of him. And to have a friend like Miller, who had a completely different mindset because of the fatherly advice and the fatherly love that it took for him to be, hey, I'm going to be great, not just good, but great in the 9th grade.
And the thing we did to underscore that, and they share this in common, is having those male presence, which is often antithetical to what the broader culture would have you think is the reality. These men, particularly the African-American males, they're in the lives of these kids and acting, despite difficult odds, at a consistent level, which is what you want from any father.
And sharing it with your teammates when they really need it.
Oh, absolutely.
Is so big.
That self-mentorship, level to level, peer group. Oh, nice spin out. He almost tried.
He was going to use the old spin move of Neal there. Stopped behind the line of scrimmage that time. And the countdown is underway for these fans, the ones that are here, and not many have left. It was not a sellout today, but it was a very active crowd and better than 45,000. No question about that.
Well, what's
not
left?
Exactly the darlings they were at 5-0, but boy, this is the start of a second season right here.
Yeah, there's going to be a remnant, and I guarantee you they're all going to be storming the field what's left of it.
And bowl eligibility is a very big deal for this school. And
I've got to believe this is probably the earliest they've gotten rolled over.
Yep, right. Look at this. Achievements just this season. Okay. First time since 13 they beat West Virginia. Iowa State, first time since 14. 5-0 for the first time since 09, which was the end of the Reesing-Mangino era. And then you look at achievements today. Taking care of the Cowboys. They had lost 12 in a row to them and were shellacked on our air. You and I were there for it with Barry Sanders. 55-3 last year. Beating an AP-ranked team. They had lost the previous 45, okay, going back to 2010. That is just amazing stuff.
Well, that's an easy benchmark to determine what you're doing. What are you doing today that you hadn't done before? And when you start hitting those benchmarks right there, that man is part of the reason why it is, because of the leadership. Lance Leipold and all the supporting cast, Devin Neal on the offensive side of the ball, and of course Rich Miller, the middle linebacker that kind of runs everything on that side.
And it's a program founded on doing the little things. As that punt by Vernon goes into the end zone for the touchback. And even their losses, Spencer, were very competitive. They have not been blown out by anybody. Speaking of that last bowl appearance.
Yep.
2008 Inside Bowl against Minnesota. Todd Reesing threw 4 touchdown passes, all of them to Desmond Briscoe. Kansas won it 42-21. The year before, hard to believe but true, Missouri and Kansas played in a 1 versus 2 game.
Yep.
There's a little bit of history that's good.
For everybody back in that time.
Yes.
We follow each other on Twitter. Pings me from time to time.
Yeah,
good times.
Good guy. DeAndre Jackson carries it up to the 24. They know what they've accomplished. It means everything to that kid, Jason Bean. And his compatriot, Jalen Daniels, who's getting better, was the first to congratulate him this afternoon.
Tim, you can look at the patina of the success of this team in areas that don't jump out at you initially. Least penalized they've been in almost 8 years. All of those factors contribute to the positive, obvious things in the Devin Neal performance and so forth. The interceptions. This guy right here, he understands that leadership is the attribute in greatest demand yet shortest supply. It worked for him at Wisconsin Whitewater, Buffalo, and here today. Why not? Here they come.
As promised, they're storming the field in Lawrence, Kansas. Their beloved Jayhawks are bowl eligible for the first time since 2008. Enjoy. Capturing 6 Division III national titles, compiling a record of 109-6, the fastest in NCAA history to reach 100 wins. He played quarterback in Wisconsin Whitewater. He went into their Hall of Fame in 2003. He was a grad assistant at Wisconsin under Barry Alvarez from 91 to 93. And I dare say there could be a time later on when conversation about Barry and that connection to Wisconsin may come up. But today is all about Kansas, all about the infrastructure, all about a culture that this man has taken to prove to every athletic administrator in a time when hundreds of millions of dollars are being spent for coaches not to coach, that you can bring in a Division III man who's been successful, who has an infrastructure of winning, and get it done at the very highest level in college football.
It's a wonderful thing, Tim, to see it. Leadership, we need it.
Yeah. Enjoyed it, partner.
All right, as well.
For Spencer Tillman, our entire crew, this is Tim Rando saying so long from Lawrence. Let's get you into our studio, where the Sarge is standing by with Chris Peterson. Fellas, it was wonderful. Back